accident, one thing leads to another. Your injury leads to treatment. Treatment leads to hospital bills. Bills lead to debt. Debt leads to stress. The advocates can help relieve that stress. Having an advocate attorney on your side leads to faster resolutions, fair outcomes, and a peaceful recovery for you. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show live on Thursday, January 15th, 2026 already. We are in the middle of January. Where on earth has 2026 gone? Maybe in my old age, I just feel like time flies by. I have no idea. As usual, the Monty Show is presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. And I can only tell you so many times that when you've been in a wreck, you need somebody who's fought the fight you're going to fight. Because insurance companies are not just going to willingly pay your car off. They're not going to willingly give you what you deserve because their client rear-ended you. You didn't deserve to get hit by a guy who was distracted driving. You know how it's been? Everybody's distracted. Everybody's on their phones. Everybody's fiddling with their smash burger that Matt Rule DoorDash to the car. Everybody's distracted. You didn't deserve to get hit by that car. You didn't deserve to have that big rig swerve into your lane, right? You were riding your bike. They were on their phone. You didn't deserve that. That's why you need The Advocates at theadvocates.com, 24/7, 365, and it won't cost you a dime. You have nothing to lose. No consultation fees, no retainers, no friends, just clear risk-free advice, 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. Listen, I think there's a lot to get to today. I could not be more excited about, yes, Corey, the NFL playoffs. We're just 2 days away now from the NFL playoffs. And I can tell you here in Seattle, like you look at the skyline all lit up in Seahawks colors. I take a couple of walks every day, Seahawks gear all over the city. The stores that sell Seahawks gear have all the stuff, and the people are stoked. People are fired up for the NFL playoffs. I'm not. It hurts. It hurts because how are the Rams -3.5 at Soldier Field on Sunday? How are the Rams favored in this game?
Because it's a lack of belief in the Bears, man. It's a lack of belief in how they play games and the fact that they constantly come from behind and people just aren't buying it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Phil Venzer, congratulations. Phil, the first one in today. We took a stray overnight from OK James, or now, Demon James, who's tired of, I guess, us making. He says we make fun of his work with the church.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Nobody makes fun of your work with the church.
Yeah, if you think that we're making fun of your work, I don't know what show you're listening to. I think that we poke fun at your brand in the comments section and of some of the things you say about football in the comments section. But in no way, shape, or form has anyone ever literally or actually, made fun of your actual work, dude. Like, and this is what I always say to people about this show, dude. Like, if you're gonna come in here and you're gonna build the brand that James did in the comments section, you're gonna get, you're gonna catch flack, you're gonna get credit, like you're gonna get a million different things back. And the reality is that anybody new to this show is gonna hear your name like literally every day because of the stuff you say and comment. And the fact that you can't appreciate that and have fun with it and understand that nobody's attacking you personally. It's a motif of the show, bro. Like we're we've seen people do this in the past, and there's boycotts, and I'm not going to listen. And then like a week later, they're back in the comment section doing the same thing again. So
it's not personal.
Yeah, like
James has never been able to separate his work in the church and
dude, the Semen Demon is one of the greatest things this show has ever produced.
Like, the Semen Demon is one of the greatest names this show has ever produced.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. Yeah, so I mean I don't understand the need to tweet at us overnight and Instagram DM Monty and just go full like, oh yeah man, you guys make fun of me too much and you make fun of the work I do, and so good luck with your morning show. Okay, well the truth is that here, let me be super humble. Okay, you're still gonna listen, you're just not gonna comment for a few days, and I'm guessing we'll see you back in the comment section next week. So it's not that big a deal, dude. Let's not act like we're out here like burning things to the ground or something. Yeah, FTR, it's all in good fun. Exactly. So we've seen this before. This happens probably once or twice a year where someone will dominate the show in the comment section for a while, and then they get a little burned out on some of the flack and some of the self-portraits that they've contributed to the show maybe aren't as enjoyable for them to be a part of anymore. And it is what it is, dude. But there's no reason to ruin your day over it, bro. There's no reason.
You're taking it way too seriously.
Yeah, it's just not that big a deal.
See, and Jason doesn't take it that seriously, and that's why he's the newest member of the Monty Show.
See, and to those that are here, there's a void in the Monty Show comment section. So who's next? Next man up mentality, right?
That's right. Scally will do good things at Utah after a season. I think he will. It's going to take some. Listen, I have high hopes for Morgan Scally, and a lot of people reached out to me on Twitter over this and asking, and maybe we left it in a gray area. I don't believe that Morgan Scally is going to fail at Utah. I think Morgan Scally has a really difficult job. I think right now Utah's in a transition. The fan base is wounded. That might be strong. The fan base is definitely in flux over Wick going to Michigan and taking. I think now Governor Cox, the governor of Utah, is now the governor of Michigan. I could be wrong.
Crack everything up. We're out of here.
The joke didn't really land the way I'd hoped. But my point is, I just think Morgan's got a very difficult job, and there's no more Utah man than Morgan Scally. And I think this year will be a transition year. It's why you got to hope somebody like Oklahoma State is better, and they're going to be better, right? You actually have a competent coaching staff and a quarterback now. Oak State's going to be better, but they're not going to be win the conference better, right? That's the problem when you lose a coach the caliber of a Kyle Whittingham who takes staff with him and a bunch of players. You can't help but backslide. What Morgan Scally will have to fight against is, Morgan, this is your fault. If Utah's a 500 team next season, the rabid dog Utah fan is going to be pointing the finger at Morgan Scally, and that's just not just.
Well, I think the other problem is the narrative that the fan base has been chewing on for 2 or 3 years, right? Maybe honestly longer than that, probably 5 years if we're being honest. Like the idea that, well, hey, Witt's going to retire and Morgan's just going to slot right in there and we're going to be just as good. That's the narrative. That was the contingency plan, the escape hatch, the next man up mentality plan. And I think that the reason people are just so damn bitter over this is that it didn't happen like that. And it wasn't a farewell tour. It wasn't a, hey, we've got closure on the Witt era at Utah, and now we can feel good about, Scally being our head coach. No, that's not what took place. What took place is that the fans, for better or for worse,
that's right,
based in reality or not, factual or not, they felt like, hey, well, I thought Witt was retiring. What do you mean he's just resigning? And what do you mean he's going to coach at Michigan? And what do you mean, Snowden and everybody on that roster is now a Michigan man? Like, what do
It
you
hurts.
mean? It hurts. And so people are pissed off about it. And no, I'm on the other side of Scally. I don't think that he sucks as a coach. I don't think that he's a terrible coach, but what I do think is that he's inexperienced in terms of head coaching. He's unproven, he's inexperienced. It's one thing to like we talked all about that Holly Rowe interview that he did where he's talking about, well, I've got all these relationships with high school coaches in Texas and I grew up in Houston or whatever, and I'm a Houston, there's a difference between being a DC or an OC and recruiting at that level versus being a head coach and representing the whole brand. And I just think if you're a Utah fan, the expectation should be not wins on the football field in year one. That's not your expectation. I don't care if you're a 3-win team, a 5-win team, a 1-win team. I don't care about that. What I care about is what you're doing in the portal, how you're building the roster, and what kind of arc are you going to create in year one? Because that's all that is. Like, we can I agree with you. We could be nice and call it a transition year, but really what it is it's just him getting his feet set.
It's a building year.
It's establishing a foundation from where he's going to try and build from.
It's a building year. And Bryce, I think it's a really interesting conversation. I do. I believe that Kyle Whittingham is one of the best coaches in college football.
I personally believe as a U.S. American that Morgan Scally he's just up against it. It's almost unfair to Morgan.
U.S.
The way this whole thing played out, I'm probably making too much of it at this point. But now that you're a member of the show,
I mean, I think the truth is that we're heading into the long dark period known as the off season in football. But as spring camp comes around and we get into summer and then we get in obviously back into fall camp. I think that it'll be really interesting to see how Utah in that athletic department chooses to promotes the wrong word, but chooses to put out media about how the program's doing. Because I would expect a full, effort in whatever variety, however they choose to go about it. But I would expect a full effort to continue to push positive stuff with Morgan and the football team. Because I have to say, obviously, I still follow a bunch of Utah stuff on Twitter and everything like that. Like, they did this whole thing with the softball program where they were putting out player narratives and talking about the pro softball league being established. And so they're putting out a lot of effort in other sports, and being that this all happened with football, I would fully expect a pretty big push this summer to keep it positive.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Whittingham and Campbell seen the writing on the wall. It's about big money. Well, I mean, that's probably not untrue. I think the Big 12, and I think the conversation we had yesterday that so many people got upset about and said that I hate the Big 12. Well, I thought we were a Big 12 show now, right?
You were a Utah fan, then you were a dying Mormon,
Right, fat, old, dying Mormon.
Yeah.
I think Big 12 fans and fans of Big 12 football teams are having a hard time with the reality of your situation. And I understand why. I'm a Notre Dame fan and I take a lot of heat over the free pass. That was a big discussion yesterday, the free pass that Notre Dame gets. Listen.
What do you mean the free pass that Notre Dame gets? Was that free? Did that free pass get you into the CFP? Well, but again, the whole concept of a free pass, that when they made that agreement, and I think people like to just gloss over this. When they made that agreement,
go into effect until this coming year.
Yeah, it wasn't in effect this past season when they got bounced out of the CFP. It wasn't in effect. But my point is when you made that agreement, that was before the Super League concept was even born. Like, you made that agreement because you were basically trying to ensure your future financially. And now that agreement, to me, is probably going to get washed at some point once the Super League comes into existence. So this concept of, Notre Dame gets a free pass. Well, They didn't get a free pass this year, dude. They got the pipe this year. Let's be real. They didn't win the 2 games. They got bounced out of the playoff. And again, if Miami fans gonna make a whole fuss about it, or whoever you want to point to, like if you look at the way they handled it with the CFP, the idea that it was like, hey, well, once Miami won a game, that brought Miami and Notre Dame closer, and that's what bounced Notre Dame without these two having to play a playing game. I mean, it's just the whole thing is convoluted in gray areas. So I mean, I don't disagree. It's about money, but let's not say they get a free pass. That's rough.
I think the reality is the Big 12 is in a very dangerous position right now. You don't have many programs on the way up. If we're being honest, and the core of this league, what's left of the core of this league, which is Oklahoma State, not on the way up. Baylor, not on the way up. TCU, not on the way up. Iowa State, not on the way up. K-State, Kansas, not on the way up. Right? You look at UCF, the new boy, not on the way up. That's problematic. Cincinnati, I don't know what to make of Cincinnati. They had a great year this year. But is that consistently going to happen? I have a hard time believing that.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Houston, BYU, and Texas Tech. Right now, those are the three football teams in this league. And that's not nearly enough. That's not nearly enough. And the hard part is that when Kyle Whittingham left Utah, a perennial playoff contender left Utah. That's the truth. That's the hard thing to grasp. You're not that football team anymore. And I think it's a huge win that Utah was able to keep Devin Dampier, because if he had gone, and if you believe the rumors about, Miami throwing a truckload of money at him, that Ole Miss contacted him, or, it's tampering. Tampering's not real. That's not a thing. It's just the reality of our game now. But the idea that Devin stayed at Utah, do you know how huge that was for this program? I mean, I don't know that you can calculate the importance of Dampier staying at Utah. I don't know that you can calculate that. I truly don't. Because if you'd have lost him, there would not be a lot of hope for even a winning season next year.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I think the Big 12 is in a very dangerous place.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the Big 12's position right now with their conference speaks to the greater conversation. Again, we've got this story on the SEC today, and I think that the SEC and the Big 10 are always competing with each other and always trying to get the upper hand, but that narrative and that concept reaches down into the Big 12 and the ACC, and what's really hard, and again, just FTR in honor of James.
That means for the rectum.
Yeah, FTR. I don't want to have to talk about that the Big 12 is in the position that it's in. Like, I would much prefer to be talking about that, hey, well, Tech finally got to the CFP and, they won a game, even though they didn't. And that's the narrative that I would wish we could push and talk about and work through.
Yeah.
But the problem is that this conference is just not, it's just not doing what it needs to do. And I think we're all, the masses, when I say us, I mean like the greater public that follows the Big 12, is pretty much in agreement that this is not a Brett Yormark problem. And it very much is an athletic department or athletic director, president problem at the school level. And I just don't know how you fix that. And we're going to sit here one day and we're going to talk about how, well, hey, the Big 12 is in more and more danger. And, hey, the SEC and the Big 10 are putting together a super league or doing this or doing that or auto bids and the Big 12 doesn't really have a lot of leverage to decide its own fate. So people look at Notre Dame and they're like, oh, well, what the hell, Notre Dame? You made this deal to kind of auto bid your way into the CFP if you're top 12. Well, what would you have them do?
It hasn't started yet.
And it hasn't even started yet. Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't start until next year. So
I just look at the Big 12 and I say, dude, like, yeah, I don't have, and I really work hard not to be too negative about the Big 12, but it's seemingly getting more difficult to be positive about where this conference is every day that goes by. And that's what's really hard is that I'm not a Texas Tech fan. I think they're doing a great job. I think that getting Brendan Sorsby is a big upgrade. I think that he has the ability to take you further than Barron would have ever taken you with how he plays the game. That said, they're going to need to show the ability to go out and beat teams like Oregon, because the damning thing for the Big 12 is that Oregon gets blown out and looks terrible against Indiana, and they dispatch Texas Tech with pretty comfortable fashion. So I struggle with, hey, the Big 12 is fine, because it's not fine. And every year that goes by that you're not a multi-bid league is another year that the Big 10 and the SEC just walk further away from you. And I don't know what you're doing about it.
The Bashir says it was the first year they didn't get a free pass, Notre Dame. It's really why they reacted that way. I think the expectation at Notre Dame is fully built on entitlement. And it's what's wrong with our program. You listen to that Marcus Freeman presser yesterday. That's the first time I've ever heard him be contrite. That's the first time I've ever heard him be. One of the things that really bothers me about Marcus Freeman is I feel like he's arrogant and he thinks he's entitled to something. Notre Dame's not entitled to anything, because at Notre Dame, you're not in a conference. So you have to earn everything. So the backlash about the automatic entry is fully based on the fact that you don't have to win a conference. You don't have to. Now, their strength of schedule is good, right? You look at losing USC and adding BYU, that's a step up. That's a step up. You look at adding Miami, a home and home with Miami, that's a step up. As we talked about yesterday, Auburn, Alabama, Clemson, they're adding good football teams to their schedule. So I think Notre Dame understands, and I hope Bavakwa understands, and I think he does, where this team is and what it's going to take to get there.
Bavakwa.
You need to have an undefeated national championship season next year. Mm-hmm. Let's not confuse things. And there is no bigger Notre Dame fan in all the land than this guy right here, figuratively, because
Notre Dame, our mother.
I'm a big person. Anyway, the point is, Notre Dame needs to win a national championship. It's as simple as that. There's been too much jaw-jacking and not enough winning games. And I think the free pass, I think Notre Dame is fully in favor of a 16-team playoff, because if you're not ranked in the top 16, which essentially would happen, you don't deserve to be in the playoff anyway. Mm-hmm. But, Phil Venzer, Utah on the way down, even with the PE money. Well, I think it's been lost on a lot of people that there is the rumor about Morgan Scalley and the Garf family pressuring the University of Utah to install Morgan as the head coach. Does anybody not draw a direct line to private equity and the Garf's role in that deal? Because what's the one thing we know? They immediately went to their biggest supporters and offered them a buy-in. Be interesting to take a look at their books, which you'll never get a look at. Follow
the yellow brick road. A plus B equals Morgan Scalley's the head coach.
Yep. Brandon Butler. The reality is Witt went from a feeder team to a team that eats. The whole point is to win the chip if you are to win the chip if you're a competitor, and Kyle competes at his court. Totally agree with that. The Hard Rock Hotel guitar on the Strip is going to be huge. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I've been looking at there's a live camera, and you can watch it being built, and the time lapse that's already been put out of it is pretty cool.
Okay, quick sidebar. Are we Vegas people in the comment section? Do you guys enjoy going to Vegas? Because I haven't really been, stuff like the Hard Rock, hotel guitar on the Strip. That's exciting, dude. That could be a very fun, update to the situation. that is the Las Vegas Strip. But I don't know, man. It never really hooked me. It never really got me. And I'm curious in the comment section if you guys go to Las Vegas a lot, if that's still like, hey, let's go to Vegas for a weekend. Is that still the thing that people are doing? Because
I'm not a Vegas guy at all.
Yeah.
I enjoy going to Vegas to play golf and have a good meal because there's a lot of great restaurants there. I am not the guy that goes to Vegas to gamble. I can't. I used to love it. I love playing cards. I'm a huge fan of the World Series of Poker. I think we've talked about that on the show.
Yeah.
Like I'm a huge fan of playing cards. I can't sit at a table anymore, especially the smoke-filled casino table. I can't do it. It's really, really difficult for me to do it.
Yeah.
Really, really difficult. D-Rock, good morning, D-Rock. Good to see you. Most Notre Dame fans knew we were screwed when we didn't win one of the first two games. That's where the season ended. You know, and I think we openly talked about that on this show. The Bashir, with that said, I think Notre Dame is going to make sure that never happens again and not take the free pass for granted. Bashir, I hope you're right. From your mouth to Marcus's ears, right? I hope that's true. Right? Whoa. I've only gone for Canelo fights. Canelo. Remember when Vegas was the fight capital of the world?
Mm-hmm.
I miss Hagler Hearns. I miss Tyson Holyfield. We get now the NBA, the NHL, big college football games. UNLV football has become obviously significantly better than it probably has ever been. But I miss, and as somebody that's kind of fallen away from the UFC, I miss the big boxing match. I miss when boxing was a sport and not a spectacle.
Yeah.
And I guess the right way to say it is I miss it when the sport of boxing was a spectacle.
Yeah.
And not stupid roid rage guy who isn't really a boxer fighting people and they're taking paydays to lay down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been once. The hotels were nice and all, and the shows were fun, but I'm not a big gambler, and that there's a lot of that.
Well, and I think that what's interesting, and again, probably for a different day, but Vegas suffering due to economic conditions, I think is really a fascinating conversation. You know, because that's the thing. Like to your point, in order to gamble, what do you have to have? You got to have money, and you got to be in a spot mentally with your money where you're like, oh yeah, I can, I got enough money. We can go and drop a couple thousand, gambling or whatever. And it ain't a big deal. Like I can do that, stress free and just do it for the enjoyment. But that's what's fascinating is like, the A's thing, not necessarily working out so far,
I don't think the A's thing, the stadiums. There's a live cam on that stadium being built and they're actually for once making progress.
Yeah, I saw a story the other week that they were having trademark issues with the Las Vegas A's. That they're working through trying to get the trademark for it and having to pay someone and so the stadium might be moving forward, but there are definitely issues with that they're dealing with. But I don't know. I don't know. I can't even think of something that would bring me to Vegas outside of, hey, I just want to go and play Las Vegas National or whatever, I just want to go.
Summerlin, you mean?
Yeah, right. TBC Summerlin, which was a great course. Love that course.
The issue, obviously, not breaking news. It's hot in Vegas.
It is.
It is hot. Water's a huge issue in Las Vegas. It's a bit, and I'm kind of with Brandon. You go to Vegas for events. It is depressing.
Yeah.
It is if you go there during the week, it is empty. It is empty. But if you go to the concrete convention, CES, there's a lot of people there. But on the regular,
that's the hard part though. You're not a huge fan of being around a lot of people.
I'm not. I don't like going to conventions. I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't want to get the vid, the cocoa.
Yeah. I'm not.
You
Yeah,
put a mask on, Monty.
yeah. I'm not trying to. Yeah, I don't know, man.
The coronavirus.
I don't know. I'm good.
Yeah. If I didn't have family in Las Vegas, it would be an afterthought. There is a fee on everything now, not doing it. Dude, everything. One of the nicest parts about Europe, the tipping culture doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's built into your bill. It's called service. You're paying for service. But there's not hey, I smiled at you. Give me a tip.
Oh, hey, there's a couple of questions I need you to answer here, Monty. Would you mind?
It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. David Persons, good morning, David. Let the SEC have its own competition, and then they can go play with themselves.
Whoa, bro. This is a family program, dude. This is a family show, dude. We would never make jokes like that. Come on.
Hey, Jeremiah Champion. Good to see you, Jeremiah. How's the substitute teacher life, dude?
Yeah, he in our members only chat the other day, he mentioned that he was subbing at a school, and I think you said that you ran into your ex while you were substitute teaching at a school, apparently, or something. I'm a little fuzzy on the details, but you should tell that story in the comments section because that's wild.
You millennial, and I don't know how old Jeremiah Champion is. I mean, he's a millionaire. He has a wedding planner, or had a wedding planner.
That's right, T.
You millennials, you find ways to put problems in your lives. Well, I ran into my ex. All hell broke loose in the classroom.
With all due respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told him, I'm going to find you on the playground, and I'm going to put a shiv in your neck.
Yeah, I can get you a toe.
I'll drop that motherfucker.
That's one of the things that as somebody who's 53 and I've been married for 30 years, I don't need to worry about running into my ex. I really don't.
If you guys ever want to kick it, we'll flow.
Which is fine. Phil Vencer says, we in Vegas transforming into a sports with the A's Stadium on the Strip. Yeah, we'll see. Oh, wait, Jeremiah said what now? Went to Vegas last year, played blackjack. The dealer gave me 4 back-to-back dealer dealt blackjacks. Wow. Do you know how rare that is? Just to get 2 in a row. Nice. Sergeant Green, hello. I gamble maybe once a year. Not really my thing. Don't like going to Vegas. We have a lot of casinos in the Sacramento area. You really do.
You mean Canisos? You see that there? Canisos.
Why do you have to be a jerk?
I'm just reading the comment.
And you wonder why Oak State James broke up with this show. It's your fault because you're not a good person, Jacob.
Yeah,
Bavacqua.
Yeah, James Bavacqua hang out, and
James went out in his breakup tweet to us. James went out of his way to say that Jake is a nice guy.
I want to make sure we read his whole comment in honor of James because he's saying he's never going to be back, and we're fully done. He said, I hope you're happy with your morning show. SLC Jake, he's a really sharp guy and has a bright future in sports news. Well,
hey, baby.
Well, wow. Okay.
He's always hated me. He's viewed me as a threat. He thinks that I'm going to keep you from him, which
Timothy.
I probably should keep you from him, but
Uh-huh.
You're the one who told him you love him on this show.
Yeah, that was like 3 years ago now, bro.
The real awkward guy. I took your order now. Give me a tip. Yeah, I got a tip for you. I'm 33, LOL. See, you guys are the same age.
Uh-huh.
You got X's in every corner of West Texas, Jeremiah. Jezebel.
Oh, he's gone on a full story mode here. A couple comments down. You see that?
Okay. So the relationship did not end amicably at all. No, you don't say. You don't say.
Please.
Period like that. Yeah. Legitimately got me kicked out of a group that I was volunteering with that I had a history with longer than he did. Oh, I'm sorry.
Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and
So it got personal. X is now a she. He was a mama's boy, so I don't really think there needs to be more explanation than that. Wow.
Damn. flamethrower mode, bro.
So you're saying you took that personally,
Bro.
which, wait, what's the James drama? James has quit the Monty Show. He says that we disrespected his work
The James drama
in the demon world, which we haven't. We haven't.
He says that we made fun of or insulted
seriously. Yeah.
his professional life's work, and that he says that he wishes us good luck, but the morning show will be without him. To which I say, okay, hey, look, if you need a few days off, well, we'll see you on Monday. It's okay, dude. I mean, everybody, I guess you need a couple days off, but what James and anybody like James, and when I say like James, I mean someone who's got a brand in the comments section, who I would say
a major part of the show.
Yeah, who's like an iconic figure in the comments section. I think that what you guys don't understand is that it's part of the motif, bro. Like it's part of, like, the burner thing was incredible in October and September. Like you and Dana, you making burner accounts as Dana Marie, and like the Dana's hiding in your trunk thing that went on in the comment section was
Amazing.
Incredible, dude. So
Amazing.
I don't understand why it's got to be like, oh, you guys are insulting my life's work. No, we're not, dude. No, we're not. Like, the Semen Demon might be the best nickname I have ever seen.
Oh, the Semen Demon.
Yeah, like, that's incredible, dude. You are such a thing on the show that Monty found the voice box on his mixer and now tries to troll with it. Like, that's incredible. But here we are, and you got in your feels, and now you've broken up, and the morning show's gonna be without you. Okay, dude, I get it. If that's what it is, cool, man. Knock yourself out. But I just think you take for granted, the stature that you built in the comments section.
Yeah, very much so. Very much. I don't understand how people randomly run into their exes. I work in the same building as an ex and haven't run into her once in 15 years. I don't know. And I don't understand. I just, again, I think millennials do some things that are very unique to millennials. The way you jackwagons break up with people is incredible. It's incredible, the things you just go out of your way to buy dogs and then break up with those girls you bought dogs with. And those dogs,
I want that known.
Yeah, she's a hoe. They wind up getting upset, so they take huge dumps on airplanes. Right? Like, that is wholly a true story about Jake's dad that I just told right there. Not a single part of that is made up.
I wasn't on the plane, just FTR.
It is so strange to me that millennials you guys can't seem to do it.
Here I am.
You cannot seem to do it. I don't even be normal. Like, just be like, I'm the sex isn't good anymore. I'm done with you. Click. Is that difficult? That's not how I would. That's not how I would probably word it. But yeah, like Sergeant Green, they work in the same building. He hasn't even seen his ex. That's literally the summarized Cliff Notes version. I could literally write an entire book about the narcissistic behavior. It's crazy to me. Yeah. James is gone, but the return of Dana is imminent now. We'll never see Dana again. James will be back next week under Dana Marie. Very well could be. And the sad thing about James, I actually really like James. When he doesn't get all, like he said, I didn't read his paid comment. James is that guy who likes to complain. And complaining right now is a pet peeve of mine. Which I just spent 5 minutes complaining about millennials breaking up in their dog. It's fine. I gamble every time I fire up my Harley and ride in Utah. Dude, you do not joke about that. Like, it is.
Listen, bro, there's gives and takes about living in Salt Lake. I will say that. The takes are, it's gorgeous. Everything's new. Well, on the west side, everything's new. The roads are very hit or miss because they get plowed in the winter and all that. But like, it's
Do you
just
get plowed in the winter, Jake?
No. We get rained on every day for like 4 months.
It wasn't a question.
I know it was a
weather.
sex joke. I get it. Do you get plowed in the winter? I know. Yeah. Anyway, so but the convenience store game is crazy in Salt Lake, dude. I totally took that for granted, bro.
Maverick is amazing.
Dude, I sent you a video yesterday from an influencer in Salt Lake, this car guy, and he's at the Lambo dealer in Salt Lake. And I said, screw the new Lambo the guy got. Look at the Maverick in the background, dude, because we went to that Maverick all the time. It's not outlandish to say you gamble every time you get on a bike in Salt Lake with who's driving on the road there.
Listen, I have great affection for Salt Lake. My biggest complaint about Salt Lake City is it's very Caucasian.
Yeah. And it's expensive now.
It is very expensive.
Yeah.
Dude, maybe at the end of the show, I'll complain about my property management company.
Oh, God.
My wife disagrees with me.
Let me tell you what, Nat.
I'm being a red ass about it. I have been renting out my house in Salt Lake for 4 months. I have not seen a penny.
Okay.
And so my wife sets up a bank account. We open like an LLC and a trust and all this stuff. And we finally give them the banking information to do the transfer. It was supposed to happen yesterday. Oh, we had a technical glitch. Our bad. So I sent him a note in reply to that. Hey, I need to see proof of funds that you actually have the money. Nothing. Crickets. And my wife's like, you're totally overreacting, dude. I'm like, they've been holding our money for 4 months. And my wife's answer is, well, I didn't have a bank account set up. Okay, so we get a bank account set up and then immediately they have a technical glitch. I'm probably being a red ass about it, and I freely admit it. But I have been carrying the weight of a mortgage and $4,600 in rent. I don't know.
Well,
My wife has exponentially more patience than I do. I have very little patience and understanding when it comes to money. You either are doing it right or you're doing it wrong. Right? It's what I say about credit card debt. I am a big believer that you cannot live your life with credit card debt. We are all one phone call away from being effed. Right? From losing our jobs in this economy and can't carry credit card debt.
Yeah, I agree with the comment section. Maybe it was the Verizon outage, dude. Blame it on that.
I am an AT&T customer, thankfully. So, yeah, technical glitch my ass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with the concept that the whole technical glitch thing is definitely an excuse. Like, your rent and setup in Seattle is definitely on the more expensive side. So, I mean, I don't blame you for feeling that way. I think it's,
Well, that's a really good point by Bailey, though. Nobody's going to be destroying our sports hopes and dreams anymore now that James is gone.
Yeah, not getting blacklisted anymore, dude.
Yeah. Preston Stone is free to let it swing. Yeah. In honor of James, when I see the wife today, I'm telling her she will now call it Semen Demon instead of the Tower of Power. There you go. The Tower of Power.
Wow. Whoa, look who's in the chat here, dude.
We are just a different breed, Monty. Yeah, you are.
Well. So James hasn't left the show here. Well. Told you guys. I told you guys.
Stop.
I told you.
Make this up. You cannot make this up.
I told you. He's not leaving, dude. This is a troll job. I'm telling you.
Dana, all I ask from Dana is, one, please help me stop coughing. Number two,
I want to thank me for having no days off.
I think we need a proof of life. I've been asking for this for 6 months, right?
Yeah, proof of funds, proof of life, the whole thing, dude. I'm gonna need, I need a birth certificate or something that shows you're an actual person.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, James resigned from the show on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, that Monty boycott didn't last long. No, it didn't. We do miss you, Dana, and it's good to see you, James. Because my guess is you're not tweeting from James's Japo shitbox trunk anymore.
Which, as if we review here again, this is how James told us he was now a TCU fan. This is the Japo shitbox, and this is the TCU window sunshade situation that he's got going on here. And I'd also like to point out whatever this sticker is in the bottom right corner of his windshield here. I don't know if that's, I'm not sure where the TCU branding is there. You need to figure that out.
I think that's when his parole is over.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, there you go.
Do they still do window stickers for registration?
Apparently in
That
Texas.
could be a thing. That could be a thing, If you jump through hoops and a business says your money will be deposited on a specific day, it damn well better be there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, so they said there was a technical glitch. Did they give you a timeline as to when it would be?
They did not. And again, my wife is telling me I'm over. My wife constantly tells me, dude, relax.
Yeah.
I think she just needs to get like a sign, a fluorescent sign she can point to on the wall. Dude, relax, right? Like I just think when I'm paying somebody to do something and they don't do it, I have like this internet situation. We have another internet scheduled outage today.
Come on, bro. Come on. Okay, so last time, so you guys remember we were having a situation with our connectivity. And then, it's been a lot better recently and we've kind of worked out some issues. But the last time you had the outage at the building, they gave you a window, but it seemed like it was out for like most of a day. Do I have that right? Is that what happened?
Yeah. It was out for the better part of a day.
So then today it's supposed to be out, but clearly it's not out yet.
It's supposed to be out starting at 8:00. So I think it's very difficult in our current environment. And then we need to get to this SEC story. But I think it's very difficult in our current environment to believe that people will do what they tell you they're going to do. I think it's very rare. It is very rare. And whether it's internet or this rental company I just don't expect people to do what they say they're going to do. I want to be, again, a major difference between me and my wife. My wife will give people the benefit of the doubt until they prove otherwise. Yeah, that's not really how I roll. Right? That's not how I roll. Day Old Donuts. Why would Oak State James not be here anymore? His school is doing well in the portal. They are. You mean TCU?
Well, yeah, if losing your starting quarterback is doing well in the portal, then they're crushing it, dude.
Don't get me started.
They're crushing it, bro.
Real quick, okay. This is a breaking news story. John Harbaugh has been hired by the New York Giants.
Oh, does that come out now?
Unless you're Diana Rossini, who is saying that, in fact, is not the case.
Oh.
Diana Rossini is saying that it is expected. While the Giants discussed with John Harbaugh yesterday what a contract structure would look like, nothing has been finalized. John Harbaugh is expected. And this is what drives me crazy about these effing NFL people. And I used to work with Diana at ESPN. She's a perfectly nice person, but she says essentially nothing's been finalized. What is her next tweet? John Harbaugh is expected to hold his introductory press conference with the Giants next week. Okay, so did he get the job or not get the job? What sense does that make? What sense does it?
I don't know, bro. Yeah.
That is so strange. That is okay. You do you, Diana.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just struggle with like, I don't think that she's done a bad job, generally speaking. I think there was a lot made of the see, and again, and this is where I got off the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon when he and her kind of beefed over her reporting when he was a Jet.
Which she turned
And
out to be completely right about.
yeah, and so it's like I'm inclined to believe what she's tweeting and what she's reporting because typically she's right. Typically, it does work out the way she says it does. Or she reports. Like typically, it is pretty spot on. But I mean, we talked about this yesterday. If anybody thought John Harbaugh wasn't going to be the Giants coach, you just
You're
weren't.
out of your mind.
You're out of your mind, dude. The guy is the brand works. It fits really well. Like he's a nice change from what they've had. Like it's a great fit for both sides, and they've got a nice foundation for him to work with. And I agree.
So you're a John Harbaugh believer.
I may. Well, I'm not. I'm not saying he's going to win a Super Bowl with the Giants, but what I am saying is that in terms of his next fit in his next role, yeah, it's a good fit for him in the Giants. That works. That's how it should be. And I think that it would be easy to be like, yeah, John flamed out in Baltimore. I don't think he flamed out. He just couldn't crack the code on Lamar in the playoffs. And I agree with the sentiment that he can't go to an organization that's talking about draft picks and where their next quarterback's coming from. He needed to go somewhere that had a quarterback and had a core that needs to be built on.
But then why all the Bisciotti drama? Can you guys remember? Listen, what the owner of the Ravens, Steve Bisciotti, said about John Harbaugh yesterday?
If Tyler Loop makes that field goal, is John Harbaugh still here coaching this team?
For a week.
For a week. Okay.
Why all the drama then? Oh, he's a Harbaugh. That's right.
I guess. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think that John Harbaugh is a slam dunk great NFL coach. I think he has a lot to prove.
Okay, who is a slam right now? Who's a slam dunk great NFL head coach?
Andy Reid, Sean McVay.
Okay.
Shanahan. No. Yeah, I mean he's in the top half. But boy, that's tough. I think Mike Vrabel is a really good coach. He hasn't won anything, but Mike Vrabel is a really good coach.
Well, so that's kind of that's why I asked, because I think that's the core issue for John is the measuring stick of like what makes a great coach in this cycle. I mean, he is the top.
Is Sean McVay a great coach? I don't think anybody questions that.
Yeah, I think he's a great coach. He hasn't won as much as I think people wanted him to, but he's done a great job.
Sean Payton.
Saints Sean Payton was one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. Broncos Sean Payton remains to be seen. You win this weekend, then we can have a conversation. You win this game. Andy Reid is no question about it. You know, that guy is signed, sealed, and delivered.
Man, there are not a lot of great coaches in the NFL.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like this is the conversation we have about quarterbacks and stuff too. Is like if you're an NFL organization right now, the conversation to me really is not, hey, can you get a Super Bowl winner? I mean, John is a Super Bowl winner, but how long ago, right? Like, have you really shown the ability to win a Super Bowl in the last even 7 years, 8 years? Like, no, you haven't. So it's like, all right, well, okay, new scenery, new roster, new personalities, reinvigorates them. You know, he can reinvigorate the organization. Okay, theoretically, they should be a playoff team. But what's the excuse going to be when they're not? That's the problem. And this is what I said yesterday. If you're going to hire this guy, then you need to understand that the first year is probably an 8-win season, 9-win season, right? And then after that, I would expect to be a playoff team. The question should be who does he outperform what Ben Johnson has done as a Bear? Does he outperform that kind of trajectory? You've got a quarterback. Well, but I know it's ridiculous on its but hear me out. Ben Johnson, what did Ben Johnson inherit? Ben Johnson inherited a franchise level quarterback in development, right? A guy that everyone expects to be there for 15 years, probably 10 years at least. He's also got some talent around him, but there was also areas that need to be improved, like the O-line, the defense, obviously. What's John inheriting? John's inheriting, in my opinion, a better group of skill position guys and a quarterback that's not as good as Caleb Williams right now. Like, obviously, Neighbors coming off the ACL. So he's got tools.
The defense is better.
The defense is probably better. Yeah, I would agree with that. So he has stuff to work with. It's not like he's inheriting a roster that's just awful. They've not had good coaching. So realistically, yeah, like 8 wins in year one is not out of the question, especially in that division. Not out of the question, dude, at all, even a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very difficult for John Harbaugh to replicate. We'll see. Todd Monken's going to supposedly be his offensive coordinator, which I think is a lot of questions. I think that's not Jim Harbaugh like Tomlin. You won decades ago, but it's what you did. Well, yeah. What have you done lately?
Yeah.
But this is the Jesse Minter conversation. Why is Jesse Minter getting so many looks?
But when you say he's getting looks, are like
he's got 6 interview invitations.
Yeah.
What?
He's I don't think that he's legitimately being considered by the best opportunities. You want to talk about the Raiders or the Cardinals? Okay, I could see that. But he's not. You can't tell me like, again, the Giants were never
the Ravens.
Yeah, but you're not. The Ravens are not hiring Jesse Minter. If you hire Jesse Minter after firing John Harbaugh, you deserve what you've just earned. I mean, you're just not very bright at all.
Yeah. We'll see. Tomlin to the Raiders? No, I think Tomlin's going to TV.
Yeah, I think Tomlin's taking a year off. And if you look at it too, there's been several people who've taken a year off, right? Vrabel took a year off. You've got other candidates who took a year off and then got back in and hit the ground running. So I think he takes a year off. But
does he do what Bill Cowher did, is take a year off and never return?
No, he'll be back. It's his whole life, dude. It's his whole identity. He just needs he needs a break. He needs to refresh. He needs to recharge the batteries. Take a year off. Observe the league from afar. Do what Mike McCarthy did. Take a year off. Come back. And run it back. Do it. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that all plays out. I don't know, but Jeremiah Champion has honored our fallen brother, Oak State James.
you know, it really is. It's tough, man. It's really tough, dude.
Bill Venzer says draft pick compensation for the Raiders to hire Mike Tomlin. I don't think Mike Tomlin would take the Raider job.
No.
With all due respect. Hit the like button. Sean the Hammer says, Sean, appreciate that. I think that the what have you done for me lately conversation is huge. And I think, again, as we look at a lot of different conversations around the NFL, the number one conversation today, and I think the biggest story, is how screwed the Bears are getting by the boys in Vegas. How are you a 3.5-point dog at home in frigid temperatures against the LA Rams, who haven't played a bad weather game in 2 years?
This is a phenomenal opportunity to make money. I'm not a professional gambler. Don't take my advice seriously. I'm trolling. This is a great opportunity. The Bears will cover this. The Bears will win this game. And you're confident. I am confident. I love the energy around Ben Johnson. Hey, we're going to practice outside. We are not running from the adversity. We are embracing the adversity. We are going to dominate this situation. And I understand. Listen, you look at Matthew Stafford's history, outdoor games, cold weather games, on the road, it's not good, dude. I have to pull the stats back up, but he has got a poor track record in the cold, outside, on the road. Not great for Matthew Stafford.
It's a hard adjustment to make. Tom Brady talked about this in what I think is one of the most arousing videos I've probably ever seen. Listen to and you guys, I do a lot of things for the viewers of this show and the listeners of this show. I would appreciate a thank you once in a while, because you're going to become aroused listening to Tom Brady talking about throwing a football.
Okay, so like when you hit like a perfect 7-iron and you're like on the range and you're like, wow, how do I do that again?
You don't even feel the ball in the club. Yeah, it's just gone.
And the feeling that you're like, I just want to repeat that. That's how it is to throw a perfect spiral. And when you're addicted to throwing a perfect spiral, that's all I needed.
Mm-hmm. That's all I wanted to do.
I just let's throw. And then when that ball would come out of my hands and it would just be the perfect pace with the perfect amount of rotation with the perfect location, it was euphoric. And I would just go, I want to do that again. How do I do that again? And I would just work on it. So it was a sickness. I mean, it was just in a positive way.
Yeah, good.
It was
Addiction.
a way, it was an addiction that is just all, it's hard to explain to people who maybe have not experienced that before.
Bro.
He said he would throw 700 passes in game per season. And he said maybe 20 of those gave him that feeling. And I'm just like, dude, I don't know what it is about Tom Brady. I don't know. Maybe he is like Jake is to Oak State James. The late Oak State James.
The late Oak State James.
And listen, you guys know I'm a huge believer in Caleb Williams, right? Like I'm a huge believer in that's my dude.
Right.
That's an amazing video. Listening to Tom Brady talking about throwing a football and knowing that he chose football over smashing Giselle for the next 40 years.
Okay.
I have a lot of respect for that. There's something when you walk away from a supermodel who's pregnant again.
After rolling around on the mat with her Taekwondo trainer.
You listen to Tom Brady talk about throwing a football. If that does not perk you up, I don't know what will. You should get some Viagra if that doesn't wake Jimmy up.
Right.
Because I am telling you now.
All gas, no break.
I could listen to Tom Brady talk about throwing a football all day long.
Yeah.
And what his performance this past weekend in the booth on the game.
Outstanding.
And everybody wants to fire Tony Romo. Tony's fine. He's not Tom Brady.
Tony.
And the fact that Tom is wearing all of his no bowl gear, he owns part of that brand. And that Spittin' Chicklets is now on Netflix and they're doing all that. To have Tom Brady sitting there talking about throwing a football. And then he equates it to smashing a 7-iron on the range, which I did last Sunday.
But you know what's funny in that clip, dude? Notice when he's trying to make that analogy, they're all like, no, I don't know what that's like. Nope, never done that.
Okay, so you know like when you hit like a perfect 7-iron and you're like on the range and you're like, wow, how did I do that again?
You don't even feel the ball in the club. It's just gone.
And the feeling that you're like, I just want to repeat that. That's how it is to throw a perfect spiral. And when you're addicted to throwing a perfect spiral, that's all I needed.
Mm-hmm. That's all I wanted to do.
And I just like, let's throw. And then when that ball would come out of my hands and it would just be the perfect pace with the perfect amount of rotation, with the perfect location, it was euphoric. And I would just go, I want to do that again. How do I do that again? And I would just work on it. So it was a sickness. I mean, it was just in a positive way.
Yeah, good.
It was
addiction.
A way, it was an addiction that is just all, it's hard to explain to people who maybe have not experienced that before.
Dude, that's outstanding. I heard that the first time yesterday and I was just like, bro, like this is the kind of energy we need to be on, bro.
I love it. And I am a huge fan of Tom Brady's. I don't know when that happened, but Brandon Butler, Raiders are in a rebuild. Tomlin wants no part of that. Brady wants a Ben Johnson type guy.
Hire Cliff Kingsbury, bro.
Hire Cliff Kingsbury. Sean the Hammer. That's going to be a great game, and Stafford's knee will be knocking, dude. Go Bears. Go Bears. The turf being slow at Soldier Field does not help the Rams. It does not. It does not help Puka Nacua either. Practicing outside, and Ben Johnson's made it a whole thing. He has made it a whole thing. We are practicing outside. We are embracing the weather, and it is a whole damn thing. And I think it is hugely important that it be a whole damn thing, because you've got to be able to. You have to be prepared for this. It's your home field advantage. There's an opportunity to go to the NFC Championship game here. And I think it's hugely important.
Yes.
Jeremy Bolton, what's up, my dude? Good to see you. You have to do it.
Yeah, I think that Ben Johnson has been a pleasant surprise with how he's gone about being the coach of the Chicago Bears. I think just his just his energy, his desire to win, like just the way the way he's going about it, I think is exactly what that specific team needed. And I think that I really hope that we see, all I want to see out of the Bears in this game is just a better start. I want to see a better start on both sides of the ball. And I want to see them be just better about the little stuff overall. Everything from the motion pre-snap to, running routes 100% through to the whistle, like all that little stuff that adds up to them winning ball games. I just want to see them do that at the beginning of the game, not the start of the third quarter. And if you do that, I feel really strongly that this Bears team can beat this Rams team. Now, again, if you have a mediocre performance in the first half, you're going to be in danger. You are. You can't, in my opinion, this is a tight game. This is one of those that will be back and forth and will be close. It will, but they are capable of winning this game. But it's going to require them not to be just ass with execution in all those little areas in the first half, dude. You can't do it here.
Well, look, in honor of Jeremy Bolton being here, they're not Utah Tech, okay? They're not going to be on Utah Tech's level.
Well, they're not a sleeping giant anymore, and that's really the difference.
I think it's really interesting when you look at what Ben Johnson's brought to Chicago. He's brought the expectation that you're going to win games. That's what he's brought to Chicago, and I think that matters, dude. I think you have to expect to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at the teams we talk about on this show regularly. For me, it's been a very good week for the Chicago Cubs. I expect the Cubs to win a lot of games next year. I expect the Bears to win on Saturday. Same thing. I'm really excited. Wait a minute.
It's Sunday night, 3:30.
Sorry, on NBC, pricks. I hate NBC. I hate Chris Collinsworth with every part of my being. I expect the Bears to win that game. I'll probably be disappointed because the Rams are very good. Sean McVay's a very good coach. That defense is a very good defense. Matt Stafford's having an MVP caliber season. Puka Nacua is the number one receiver in the NFL right now, in my opinion.
Are you in danger yet of buying a Caleb Williams jersey?
I don't buy player jerseys anymore.
Why? Why have you retired from that?
Because guys move around. Hey, listen, I will, let's just Chicago Bears. The Chicago
looked it up.
Bears.
It's $175.
The Chicago Bears, authentic Chicago Bears jersey.
From Nike.
I could get Colston Loveland, but I don't cheat, so that probably doesn't work.
I don't cheat.
I will not be getting a named. I would get a Walter Payton. I'd get a Walter Payton jersey. I'm not getting a Caleb Williams jersey. I am not doing that. And what would it if I build the jersey that I want? If I build the Chicago Bears, jersey that I want, and let's say I go
F around and find out.
If I go, let's see. What is it? They don't offer a blank. Okay. They do not. How do you not offer a blank? You got to be kidding me. I can't like jersey on the Fanatics website right now.
Maybe go to the Bears store.
The Bears. Yeah.
Bears.
I will not get a player jersey. I will not get a player jersey. You know what bothered me so much about the NFL on-field stuff this year? The hats suck.
Yeah, they do.
The hats are terrible. This is the first year, and I don't know how long, that I did not buy a Chicago Bears script B hat.
You see, I'm a guy of simple taste.
I buy one every year. It's one of the greatest hats in history. Okay, so what do you mean? If I want an authentic Chicago Bears jersey that's blank, it's $384. If I want a Caleb Williams authentic Nike Orange Vapor Fuse limited edition jersey, on-field authentic, it's $175. No.
Stay hard.
I'm not doing that. Guys change teams. Would anybody really be surprised if...
Yeah, but I that's not the point, in my opinion, that they change teams. That's not the point.
What's the point?
The point is that he did make that throw against the Packers And that throw has made him a modern day, hero.
Cade
right
McNown.
now.
Cade McNown. Jim McMahon and Bob Avellini. Walter Payton or Urlacher. Never.
What, Rex Grossman's not making the cut, dude? Come on.
Shut up, Jake. What about Mike Tomczak? You don't even know who that is.
What about Jay Cutler?
Smoking Jay Cutler, please.
Yeah.
Wise move, Monty. You don't want to know how many Cleveland Browns QB jerseys I have.
I'm not too familiar with that.
Can't ever find the Script B hat this year. No, because they want you to buy the one that's on the field, and it's terrible.
Trash, dude. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Garbage.
Yeah, I think it's awful. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. All right. The Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, 24/7, 365. You guys, you never have to worry about the claims process again when you get in a car accident. The Advocates handle it for you. You don't have to worry about, hey, are they going to pay off my car? The Advocates handle it for you. Let them fight the fight with your insurance company. They know how to fight that fight because they fought that fight, but more importantly, they've won that fight. The Advocates at theadvocates.com, where you never pay out of pocket. You don't pay the Advocates up front ever. You don't pay unless and until they win your case. It's as simple as that. That's why you go to the Advocates, because there's no cost out of pocket, no risk, no consultation fees. I love these attorneys who are like, yeah, pay me $500 to tell you if you have a case or not. It's not how the Advocates operate. You've just been in a car accident. Do you need to worry about if you can afford an attorney? No. That's why you get to theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show, a civil war in college football. And this is getting serious now. We've seen a lot of things happening around college football. And I thought that this right here from Ross Dellinger is very interesting, because we've been talking about this story on and off for how long? Okay, Georgia President Moorhead. Grow up, Jake. If the CSC is not going to enforce the settlement, if the NCAA is not going to enforce tampering, and if Congress is not going to pass the SCORE Act, then it leaves the SEC in a position that we have to go our own way to create rules. That is a huge statement from Craven Moorhead. That is a huge statement. And I think that it is indicative of where we are in college football. Because what is frustrating administrators more and more and more every day? The tampering that does not exist. Well, hey, Devin Dampier was offered $5 million. Well, Devin wasn't in the portal. Yeah, but he was offered $5 million because agents and administrators talk all the time. Right? The portal being in December. Everybody having to recruit in December. Right? Because what is the portal open January 2nd or whatever? All the kids are leaving in December. And you're having to fight to keep your roster together while you're coaching in the CFP, and your head coach now took another job. It's all of this dysfunction. And I think this SEC versus Big Ten, and talking to sources yesterday, the SEC and the Big Ten are quote unquote miles apart on key issues related to the college football playoff. And I think the SEC's had enough. I think the Big Ten, and I see everybody getting into these arguments about who's the better conference. If you're a good conference, are you trying to get 2014 playoff with 8 of your teams guaranteed a spot? Because that's, remember, go back in time. That's where this all started. The Big Ten wanted a 2014 playoff where they got 8 spots. The SEC got 8 spots. The ACC and the Big 12 each got 2. And then 4 at large. Well, why do you need 8 guaranteed spots? Oh, because you're a 2 or 3 team league every single year. That's the issue. And I think that's what the SEC is trying to fight against, because Greg Sankey's talked so often about this strength of schedule thing. And we'll go back to last year. Last year, listen to Greg Sankey talk about strength of schedule.
Whether people want to agree with it or not, that's up to them. We can go through the analytics and show the rigor of our schedule is different than anyone else's, period. And we had a learning session in September at the CFP about strength of schedule. And strength of schedule isn't everything, but it is an important factor. I remember very clearly one of the messages was, if you play the top-ranked team and the 130th ranked team, those two games average out to 65.5. If you play 65 and 66, they average out to 65.5. And so the advisor said, you're just as well playing 65 and 66. Here's my problem. But for maybe 1, maybe 2 teams in a year, we don't have 65 or 66, and everybody else has a group.
It's exactly right. And I think it's hard to argue his point there. And I think this divide between the SEC and the Big Ten around 16 or 24, I truly think the Big Ten is the only conference that wants 24. I think every other of the other 3 want 16. And I think everybody wants as few auto bids as possible. Because I think the Big 12 and the SEC, and I'll continue to say this, Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey work together very well. Their messaging, very well. Who got credit for the jersey patch story that we broke 4 months ago now? All the credit went to Brett Yormark. Who supported that initiative? Greg Sankey. I'm telling you, they work in lockstep. And when you listen to the messaging from Brett Yormark and you hear him say, you know, we need to win it on the field, and I don't think there's any doubt about the fact that Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey, and I've told you this repeatedly, they talk on a regular basis outside of the commissioner roundtable calls that they have monthly, and Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey talk on a regular basis. And it's starting to show. And I think if you are Greg Sankey, and I even go back to what he said on the Triple Option podcast, is it not incredibly obvious with what the Big Ten is doing that the Big Ten wants to be the SEC?
I don't want to dumb down the Southeastern Conference to be part of some Super League notion with 70 teams that some people speculate would happen. They want to be us, and that's on them to figure it out, not on me to bring myself back to earth.
I mean, Jake, I think it's very hard to argue with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously Greg Sankey and the SEC are very stout, both in argument and just in their general opinion. And I think that certainly this is not a conversation around woe is me in the SEC. That's not the point. The point, though, is that the SEC plays the most difficult schedules in college football. The SEC has the deepest conference in college football from a talent, team quality perspective. And yet they are in a position where that's not really being valued in terms of the CFP and in terms of just the overall process. And I think that the issue is nobody can seem to agree on what the shared metric is to decide CFP slots. Is it strength of schedule? Is it just wins? Like, is it conference championships? Like, I just think that the SEC, and everyone wants to focus on national championships, and I just think it's a really flawed way of thinking, because if you're the guy that's saying, oh, well, the Big Ten's a better conference, and why doesn't the SEC, just prove it in the CFP by winning the Natty every year if they're so much better? You're missing the point here, bro. It's not about the national championship. It's about the money that conferences do or don't make based on CFP slots. So if the SEC is going to play a better schedule, a more rigorous schedule, and not benefit from that and not have that be valued, then they're going to have a problem, as would everyone in the comments section, as would every business owner in America, as would every college football viewer. That's a very natural and well thought out and logical stance to have if you're the SEC. The problem with that is that the SEC doesn't have a way to drop the hammer and say, hey, this is the metric. So now we're in a place where the SEC is going to start to be more heavy-handed and start to lean on the Big Ten and start to leverage things and start to kind of be more of a, for lack of a better term, be a bigger a-hole in the room and say, hey, we're the SEC. Like, we have the numbers, the metrics, the TV viewership. Like, we're the ones dominating the conversation. So you're going to have to come to the middle at some point. So I just think he's not wrong, but I think that the Big Ten is going to do everything it can do to get a free pass into the CFP. That's how it's always been with them.
And I think a lot of people want to point to, what did they get? I guess 5 into the college football playoff. The fact that they aren't going to compete for a national championship, the SEC, I think I said the other day, has won 16 in the last 22. That's dominance. Now, a lot of that is the Big 12 is not relevant. The ACC is not relevant. Outside of Clemson, Florida State hasn't been relevant in how long? But I also don't believe that, for instance, the argument, and I'm happy to hash this out. The argument of, well, the Big Ten is about to win back-to-back national championships. Okay, does that mean that the Big Ten is a better football conference than the SEC? No, not by a stretch. Not by a stretch. And I think the hard part is this argument about, and I always point to like Alabama playing Mercer or whoever. But doesn't the Big Ten do that on a weekly basis?
The difference is the SEC's doing that with its non-con schedule. The Big Ten's doing that with its in-conference schedule. That's the difference. So again, and I see it already in the comment section. You guys are all dying on the hill of, oh, the Big Ten's winning national championships, and okay, cool. Knock yourself out, dude. If the national championship thing is what you want to die on, great, man. But I'm sitting here talking about money and business inside of a conference, dude. The SEC, if Ohio State or Indiana played the SEC schedule, they would not be performing in the CFP the way they are. Okay, well, why is that? Okay, well, because if you're playing better competition the whole year, you're going to have more injuries. There's going to be more rigor on your players. There's going to be bigger travel. There's going to be more, basically just more wear and tear on your team that the Big Ten, frankly, doesn't have to stomach. The Big Ten doesn't have to deal with that. So I am going to say, hey, well, yeah, if the SEC is playing better talent every single week outside of like 2 weeks a year for the Big Ten, then yeah, of course, we need to level that out a little bit, dude. So I just think that, yeah, can you sit here and say the SEC has soft non-conference schedule? Sure. Cool. Yeah, I agree. They're all playing, Abilene and UL Monroe. I get it. But everybody does that. That's not unique to the SEC. What's unique to the SEC is that they've got, 7, 8, 9 teams that are competing for CFP slots, and the Big Ten's got 2. The difference is the Big Ten's 2 teams happen to be winning in the CFP right now, so everyone somehow thinks the Big Ten's a better conference. It's just such a short-sighted opinion to have if you look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, and I think, sure, has the Big Ten's about to win 2 straight championships. Great. That's awesome. I am telling you, if you want to say who's the best conference in the college football playoff in recent years, certainly you would have to default to the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
That does not make the Big Ten a better conference.
Did we just forget about the Ryan Day sucks conversation from 3 years ago? Did we just forget about the, hey, well, the Big Ten just added these Pac-12 schools who don't win anything in the CFP. The Big Ten sucks. Did we just forget about all that?
Are we forgetting that Dan Lanning lost again?
Yeah. Are we forgetting that Michigan is until about 2 weeks ago when you hired Witt and all his guys, Michigan was in complete shambles? Did we just forget about that, dude?
Yeah.
And no, Norge, no, it's not 3 straight. It's not 3 straight. Everybody and their mom agrees Michigan cheated. So it's not 3 straight.
Not 3 straight.
It is likely back to back. And I will forever roast you for that take right there if you're going to die on that hill today, because it's
Michigan
not 3
didn't win a
straight.
national championship.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. They did not. You know, they got 5 of 12 college spots. They've got nothing to complain about. The SEC's not complaining. They don't want to go to 24, and nor should they, in my opinion. Alabama played powerhouse, that is Florida State, UL Monroe, and Eastern Illinois. I think everybody on their schedule, pick your favorite college football team. Why would you play 13, 12, 12 really difficult games? Why would you do that? I have no idea why you would do that. I would not do that. It makes no sense. If you are like, you look at let's say Ole Miss is the best team in the SEC, right? And they play, what did they play? 3 playoff games. They beat Tulane, Georgia, and they lose to Miami. So let me get this right. One SEC team knocked out another SEC team. Well, you got to take that into account. But if you look at who's the worst team in the SEC, Arkansas this year was a 2-10 team. I don't think they won a conference game. But if it's South Carolina, Mississippi State, Auburn, Florida has to be there, Kentucky has to be there, LSU. How many of those teams just fired their coaches? Do we think that LSU and Florida are going to stay down next year? Because I don't. Sam Leavitt, for everything his brother's not as an agent, Sam Leavitt's a pretty good quarterback. Right? So if we think that, and I don't know what Ole Miss does, because I think Ole Miss is going to fall, but Georgia's going to be there. I would assume Texas A&M is going to remain. Alabama without Ty Simpson, we'll see. Texas is going to be significantly better. I would think Oklahoma steps up. Who knows what, now that Diego's hot mom's not at Vanderbilt anymore, there's going to be change. Some teams are going to rise. Some teams are going to fall. Let's play the same game with the Big Ten, because I think the Big Ten's very easy to diagnose. If I said to you, next year, who are the elite quarterbacks? Well, Indiana with Hoover, Ohio State. I would think Michigan. With that staff, that talent, I would think Michigan. And I would think Oregon. And then we can go down to the Nebraskas, Northwesterns, UCLAs, Penn State. I would think Penn State would be better. I don't know. Rutgers, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Maryland, Purdue. They're all going to be shit again. Right? Like Wisconsin, you would hope Wisconsin would be better. Damon Williams is back at Washington. I would hope that they would be better.
Do you understand that it took the Big Ten getting Indiana to resurrect itself for you guys to have any type of claim to the SEC? You understand that? You understand that it's taken something that Indiana's never seen before for you guys to do what you're doing.
And it needs to be said, NIL is why we're having this discussion. NIL has brought the Big Ten and the SEC significantly closer.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't a conversation about the SEC crying. I think the SEC wants a set of rules that are enforced that everybody has to play by. I think the SEC wants strength of schedule to be a significant factor in who's in and who's out and how they're seated. Why? Who disagrees with that? Again, we're having a conversation about, like, the ACC doesn't even have a clear championship tiebreaker system. Duke won the ACC championship. Didn't get in. Like, everybody's playing by different rules. How is that going to work? I don't know. I have no idea. The SEC schedule is the hardest in the nation. Argument is not nearly as strong as it once was. NIL is changing that. I think you just look at, like, you look at Indiana's schedule. If we look at Indiana's schedule, Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State. Illinois, Iowa, at Oregon. Quality game at Oregon. Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, Penn State, Wisconsin, Purdue. Quality game at Ohio State. Okay, let's look at Alabama because you all hate Alabama so much. Let's look at Alabama. Florida State, quality game. UL Monroe, Wisco, Georgia, quality game. Vandy, quality game. Missouri, quality game. Tennessee, quality game. LSU, Oklahoma, quality game. And Georgia. 7 quality games versus Indiana's 2 quality games. It's a hard argument to win. If you want to make the argument, in my opinion, about strength of schedule and quality of opponent. That's a hard argument to win.
Couldn't agree more.
Especially at the bottom half of the conference. It's a really, I mean, you start looking at even ESPN's FPI. I mean, it is so clear. Because I think most people use the FPI. The ESPN's FPI is pretty much the gold standard, right? You look at the FPI and I don't understand how we get to a place where the Big Ten is dominant at the bottom of the FPI. You look at some of the Big Ten numbers, they're worst. Purdue is fully -5 in the FPI. UCLA -2, Maryland -2.
What does that mean?
That they're terrible. Indiana, who's number 1 in the Big Ten, is a 31.7 in FPI. You look at the SEC. Do you know their lowest rated team is a +3.4? Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And I just don't think people can. And I understand it. And if you want to argue strength of schedule, I'm fine with that. If you want to argue strength of schedule and we go top to bottom, Wisconsin had the number 1 strength of schedule. Alabama, Florida, Purdue, UCLA, Oregon, Arkansas, Texas, Kentucky, LSU, South Carolina, Miami, Oklahoma, Auburn. Dominated by the SEC.
Sorry, I thought I misheard you. I didn't hear Indiana in there.
Indiana's not in the top 10. Indiana, I think, is 15th or something like that. You look at Ohio State's 19th, Penn State's 22nd. The big brands in the and I want to make this clear. It's how you should build your schedule. You should not, in my opinion, why would you schedule 12 unbelievably difficult games? You would never do that. You would never do that. Ever. BYU's FPI higher than most SEC teams this past year, and yet 10-2 Alabama got in the playoff.
Yeah, and why is that, Jeremy? Because Alabama's got more credibility than BYU. Not hard to understand.
Yeah, BYU is, and I've said this repeatedly. In my opinion, BYU is always going to have to do it bigger and better. And then they will have to do that like 5 straight years to be a default playoff team. And I think that's really difficult for guys like Kalani to do. It's Marcus Freeman yesterday talking about how enrollment standards have been lowered for some athletes at Notre Dame. Right? Kalani's got, do you know how difficult it is to get elite football players enrolled at BYU? The level of scrutiny for non-LDS athletes is significantly higher at BYU. It's not easy. It is not easy to get the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And I think it's why when you go to the playoff, the Georgias, the Alabamas, the Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, the biggest brands in college football are always going to be in the college football playoff. Yeah, BYU has an automatic East Coast soaking bias. I think that's true.
Yep.
You know, David Persons, TCU FPI in 26, number 20, Houston 21, Texas Tech 22. Very difficult to win at a high level when if you want to be elite and you start looking at even things like strength of record. The problem for the SEC is Indiana's got the number one strength of record, right? But the playoff teams, obviously, that are winning playoff games. But if we start looking at the regular season, like you look at 2024 and you start looking at strength of schedules, dude, it's dominated by the SEC.
Yeah.
This year, it'll be much more balanced after the playoff because the Big Ten had a better playoff run.
I think that the sentiment towards the SEC from the fans is just overall negative. And that's why it's hard to have this conversation. And I think that people, for whatever reason, want the Big to win. They want the Big to be better. They want the Big to be, they want to make all these arguments. And what's funny to me is what's taken place to even make this a conversation is what Big Ten fan and defender doesn't want to talk about. Let me get this right. So in order for you guys to even have a place in the conversation, it took you adding schools from a conference that melted down in complete irresponsible fashion. It then took Nick Saban retiring from college football. It then took Indiana hiring Kurt Signetti and doing something that's never been done at Indiana. And it took Ryan Day finally getting over the hump, and it took Jim Harbaugh cheating. So it took all of that just for you to get to a place where you're like, yeah, the Big Ten is, look at all the stats and this is that. Okay, cool. Listen, if you guys want to be Big Ten defenders, knock yourself out. But the truth is, no matter what angle you're going to work, no matter what stat you want to look to, no matter how emotional you are about the SEC, Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, very clearly, I would even contend Michigan with Witt is not going to win national championships playing the SEC conference schedule. They're not doing it. I don't buy it. I never will. Yeah. And I say that because they, on the path to winning a national championship, had weeks, like 5-6 weeks a year, where you're not playing anybody. You're winning. You're winning. The game's over at the half. You're not playing anybody, man. So I sit here and I say, cool, call us names, say we're wrong, awesome, knock yourself out. You're not. You have no basis to make a claim that the Big Ten has a way to defend itself here. And yes, is the SEC struggling in the CFP the last couple seasons? Sure. The SEC has dominated the CFP in the bigger picture. The CFP era is dominated by Nick Saban in the SEC.
16, and that's why I keep saying that college football is very secular.
Yeah.
Teams rise and dynasties fall. That's how sports in general is. I don't know. I think what Kurt Signetti did was he created a system where he stocked his team with older players, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And they write schedules in the Big Ten to bolster their bigger brands, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, if we're talking about being strategic, if we're talking about leveraging the current system, the Big Ten's doing a great job. 100%. Like, yeah, why would you do a tough schedule? Why would you? You
don't get rewarded for playing a difficult schedule.
Yeah.
You do not.
So that's the other side of the coin. Like, why would you do a tough schedule? And this is part of Greg Sankey's issue, is that they've built such a tough conference that they don't have a choice but to play a tough schedule. Whereas the Big Ten can cop out every year with their schedule and play a bunch of soft ass teams in the Big Ten and be fully rested and healthy heading into the playoff, and so I look at it and I say, dude, I'm not an SEC fan. I don't really have affiliation with conferences. I just call it as I see it, man. I call it the way it looks to me. In my opinion, based on what I see, is that the SEC's had a couple of down years in the college football playoff. You can't have a dynasty every single year, right? That's just not how college football works. So I have no problem saying, yeah, the Big Ten has had a better run in the playoffs the last couple of years. I don't count Michigan at all. They cheated. It's one of the most disgraceful things I've ever seen in college football in general. And I think that the SEC and, the Lane Kiffins of the world and the Sarks of the world are hell-bent on getting into the college football playoff and correcting the narrative that the Big Ten is somehow a better conference. Because the other thing that we haven't talked about yet, you briefly touched on it, but it should worry Big Ten fan that the SEC is not even at the height of its power from a conference perspective. Florida's not good. LSU hasn't been good. It's taking Lane Kiffin overreaching at Ole Miss for the conference to do things. So if Florida's good, if LSU is good, and that trickles down to Arch Manning being better, that trickles down to Alabama moving on from Ty Simpson with him going to the NFL. Georgia should be better. Like, you're talking about the SEC legitimately having 6 teams that can contend for a national championship in the college football playoff. The Big Ten can't say that on any planet. There's no conversation where you can say that.
And I think more to the point, this is the issue in the Big 12, is that you're willing to let Dave Aranda continue at Baylor.
Yeah.
And you're willing to let Sonny Dykes continue at TCU. And you're willing to let Leipold, and you're willing to let, how many years did Mike Gundy get?
How am I supposed to be positive? How am I supposed to be positive about the Big 12? How are we on this show supposed to sit here and talk about the SEC and the Big 10 and then be like, oh, yeah, dude, don't worry, guys. The Big 12 is going to get 3 teams in next year. It's not a problem. Yeah. We can't say that, dude. And I really do have concerns when it's like, hey, the SEC and the Big 10 are beefing, and the Big 12, and by extension, the ACC, because the ACC is certainly not immune. But give them credit. They've done way more in the CFP than the Big 12 has.
And they're playing for a national championship.
Yeah. So, I mean, the ACC is from a relevancy standpoint in a better spot than the Big 12. But the Big 12's got, I don't know what it's going to take. I've maintained for 2 years on this show, the only way you're going to affect change in the Big 12 is by removing people's money from their program. By saying, hey, if you're not at least a 7-win team, if you're not at least an 8-win team, whatever that benchmark total number of wins is going to be in the conference, then you're not getting X financially. You're not getting this help from this share, this help. And I know we've talked so much about performance-based revenue sharing, but it seems like it needs to take a step further. It needs to be like, hey, dude, you're either getting on this or you're going to get left in the dust. And that, to me, is the only way to affect change.
I agree. Saban, Bama, and the SEC dominated in past years, but the CFP is only a couple of years old, and the SEC has been weighed and measured and found to be wanting. Don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. Big Ten gets 4 or 5 practice games a year. Don't disagree with that. Steve Stepanek. Steve, good to see you. Yes, Indiana coach was smart. Very smart.
Yeah, he's done a great job, dude. Deserves all the credit in the world for what he's done there.
Some dude named Rod Harris. The SEC is doing so good in bowl games. Bowl games are irrelevant.
Nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, most guys. Yeah, it doesn't even matter. Ammon says the SEC manipulated the system for years. Oh, really? Do tell. Now that everyone can pay players, the SEC is average. Oh, so it's because they were paying players. Gotcha. You're having to work hard for that one. The Big 12 needs to follow the Big 10 format and fire half the ADs in the conference. They
need something, dude. They need a reset. Big time.
Yeah, I truly believe that the Big 12 is in real trouble. The Big 12 is in real trouble. I think from a business perspective, the Big 12 is dominating. And it's unfortunate that teams like Baylor and universities like Baylor get paid. Because I am wholly in agreement with the ACC. If you don't win games, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. And the Big 12 has not adopted that. And Brett Yormark is working as hard as he can to get that done. BYU basketball 16-1 and yet falling in the hole.
Victory has already been won.
SEC schedule is difficult by name only. Doesn't mean the opponents they're playing are good. FSU, yeah, Florida State's had 2 bad years. I agree. LSU, Auburn, UL Monroe, Eastern Illinois, and Wisconsin.
Where do you get off saying that LSU and Auburn are trash, dude? Like what?
LSU and Auburn certainly are in down cycles.
Yeah, but they're not Rutgers, bro. I agree. Like I said before, like I agree with you. UL Monroe and Eastern Illinois. Yeah, that's your trash non-con schedule. That's all that is. That's all that is. But again, you're sitting here saying that Wisconsin's trash. That's a Big Ten team.
And it's a problem for the Big Ten.
Yeah, so we don't get to have it both ways, dude. Like I appreciate that. I appreciate you're a Big Ten defender and that you so desperately want the Big Ten to be level with the SEC. But again, it is the crux of the conversation is Greg Sankey dominates the conversation in college football. What Greg Sankey does, he walks into the room, dominates the energy, dominates the flow of the conversation. And Tony Petitti, in my opinion, is not that guy. And the Big Ten is constantly on defense and having to defend itself. And so I don't know if that'll change or where you go with that. But I'm just telling you, at some point, there is going to be some concessions made by the Big Ten to create a system that's better for college football in the bigger picture. That's where we're headed here. Whether you like that or not, that's up to you. But I just think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's tough. We have a lot of bias as fans built into our opinions, and I think that when you look at where we are going, I certainly think that the system is weighted for the Big Ten and the SEC by contract to make the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the problem now is, as I've been talking about for months and months on this show, Tony Petitti wants 24, but he wants 8 guaranteed spots, and the SEC is not willing to do that. And I think most of college football would rather go to 16. And I think that's why, when we're hearing about, how the SEC and the Big Ten are miles apart, I think that's a big, big deal. And I do think that ultimately this will go the way that the SEC wants because they have the most sway. The problem for Tony Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, he's a new boy that has not done well making relationships. He did not handle the Michigan situation well. He ultimately bent the knee. He has not, in most people's opinion, done enough to raise the bar in his conference. And you can say you can be a Big Ten guy or a Big 12 guy, whatever, but you can't say, you cannot criticize the SEC for every team in that league raising the bar, at least in football. And now it's a really good basketball league.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, is the other thing for the Big Ten, right? I mean, at least in the Big 12, you're the best basketball conference in the country most years. And the SEC has a lot to say about that now. But, I don't know, man. I think that everyone hates the SEC. And so you can't have a legitimate conversation about it. Everyone wants their schedule to be easier than it actually is. Nobody wants to talk about that the road through the SEC is miles more difficult than pretty much any other conference. And I guess I just feel like the issue in college football is, one, we keep changing the format. And then 2, we keep changing the format in a way that doesn't appease everyone long term. So I don't really give a damn what format you want to go to. 16, 24, 87. I don't care. Go to a format that sticks and that works in the long term. Can we get the same CFP format for 5 years at a time? Can we get a format that that works? Because and I agree, I don't think so. No, I don't think so either. And I just think that there's always going to be someone that's trying to power grab. And if you want to blame the SEC for something, blame them for that. That they're constantly trying to keep their hand around college football and constantly trying to push it in a way that benefits them. If you want to blame them for that or indict them for something, indict them for that. But I'm not going to sit here and criticize Greg Sankey for doing what's best for his conference when his conference is the one that is on top of college football basically every year.
Yeah, and I think you're like BYU basketball is very interesting. BYU falling 2 spots. I think, what are they down to 15th or something? Or no, excuse me, 11th at 15-1. They lost though, right? I mean, that's why BYU fell. No, they didn't. I think the issue with BYU is always going to be perception. I think that's always going to be the issue because BYU has not lost since that UConn game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're falling because there's a perception. BYU hasn't earned that yet, and the Big 12 hasn't earned that yet. And I don't know what it will take to earn that, but, DK, who's been a member for 18 months, make the CFP so there's no committee. Amen to that.
Yeah, agreed.
Amen to that. The Big 12 needs to play teams from the SEC and the Big 10 in football, and it's getting tougher and tougher to do. Very difficult. Rutgers should never get the same amount as Ohio State. Florida shouldn't get the same amount as UGA because winning should pay more. Expansion, the SEC should win over Big 12 and ACC than the Big 10 is in a box. I don't think that's what. Do you know how hard it is to be a 2020, just a 20-team league?
Well, I don't think that you have to have. Everyone just assumes that they would on paper be in the same league. I don't think that that's the whole point here. I think that, look, at some point the SEC is going to flex its muscles and do something. Like they are going to make a power move that puts the Big 10 in, as Big Blue Horse has said, in a box of sorts. And that's difficult because the SEC, it would really help if the SEC the last few years had been winning in the CFP the way the Big Ten's been winning in the CFP, because then you can say, okay, hey, we got the same strength of schedule, or we got better strength of schedule. We've been winning in the CFP. Like you have the hammer unequivocally at that point. But right now, because you're not doing enough in the CFP, the Big Ten feels like they can step to you. And that's the problem. So I think that the system is dying. Like college football is dying for a Super League style format. And I just don't think the Big Ten wants to go that route. I think the Big Ten wants a free pass. They want auto bids. They don't want an NFL minor league model where they actually have to play it out against the SEC in the bigger picture, because that would be a bloodbath for them.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see where that all goes, because I struggle with 24 teams. I struggle with it. And our sources have told us for months and months, most administrators want 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people agree 16 is you need to expand. You need, and I agree with that notion. You need to expand to 16. And my opinion is that, and I've heard all kinds of conspiracies about how strength of schedule. I don't know how you fix everybody who thinks strength of schedule is related to this guy and that guy.
Right.
Strength of schedule, the teams you play on the field, their record, their opponents, your common. It's not that difficult. The problem is when you have the Big 10, the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC, they're going to fight, because I think people like the ACC and the Big 12 understand the ACC almost got left out and is now playing for a national championship.
You needed a lot of help to not get left out.
Why did Notre Dame and Miami not play a football game to decide who got in? Why did BYU not get a chance to play a football team, another football game, to see if they belonged in? That has to happen.
Yeah.
It makes too much sense. It makes too much money. It makes too many TV ratings not to do it. The system is broken. And I think it is going to take mountains being moved for this at some point in the next 5 years to get fixed. And I just don't know that it can happen. Real quick, a couple of quarterback things. What do you guys make of Ty Simpson turning down $6 million for the NFL draft? I think it's the exact right thing to do, because I think he knew Dante Moore was going back to Oregon. And now that's official. And I think that Ty Simpson, you're not are you a Ty Simpson fan?
I was a fan until the last 3 weeks of the season. I felt like he really melted down. I felt like he just for whatever reason wasn't playing well. And I'm not saying that overall he sucks, but it wasn't the type of finish to the season that I think he was capable of. I do think his game translates to the pro level reasonably good enough to where you could draft him and develop him and he could be, I mean, he's not a franchise caliber quarterback in my opinion, but he is a really solid backup kind of guy to have on your roster.
Dude, I thought he played really well against Oklahoma.
Yeah, maybe so, man. But I just
we watched that. We watched that game on the plane.
The lasting impression I have of Ty Simpson and injury, whatever reason, don't really care. You got sat down. And that's the lasting impression of Ty Simpson against Indiana. You got sat down, and that's the lasting impression that I think a lot of people have of him in college football. And my opinion is, yeah, Dante Moore going back to Oregon, yeah, certainly it helps Ty Simpson. But the reality is Ty Simpson, in my opinion, went to the NFL and is declared for the draft because going to Ole Miss or going to Miami, that would have just muddied the water for you. If you'd have gone to either of those two teams and taken that money and not had a great season, you're hurting your draft stock way more than you did with the Indiana thing and all that. I
think you have to take a broader, longer look at quarterbacks in college. I think Indiana's a very good defense. I think Ty Simpson's going to be an excellent NFL quarterback. He's going to have to show some things. He's going to have to work out very well. He's going to have to combine very well.
Right.
But with Dante Moore going back to Oregon, it's a no-brainer for him. This is a big story. Pat Forty. Federal investigators are filing sports bribery and wire fraud charges against 20 people in relation to game fixing, point shaving, and performance manipulation in college basketball. Ooh. And isn't this what is always going to be happening now?
Yes.
Because it's a money-making opportunity. And I think it's going to be very difficult. It is going to be very difficult to take things that we see that happen so egregiously bad. A guy just throws a ball out of bounds, shoots an air ball, inexplicably shoots an air ball.
Yeah.
And I think you are going to see that there is going to be big names in this scandal. Antonio Blakeney is among 17 players charged in the point shaving scheme in the NCAA and the Chinese Basketball Association and rig bets, according to an indictment in Philadelphia. So now it's not even just the NBA and the NCAA tournament. Now you're seeing this spread to China. And this is going to be ugly. This is going to be ugly. And sadly, I think this is the norm now. Are you at all surprised to see this?
No, I think that point shaving and manipulating games, it is just taking place. It goes on every single day. We can't see it. That's the problem. So I agree when someone has a terrible game or turns it over and it just feels weird. That's the first thing we all think about, as we should. And I think that the whole, NBA thing kind of cooled off, but ultimately, man, what's happened here is a couple of big stings happened. And then now there's been a bunch of little ones that are going down. And now I feel like they're just microscoping the whole system. They're like, oh, hey, because what happens is there's unusual betting patterns. There's software that detect it. And then, and so then it's like, oh, well, bro put a bet on some rando player at tiny little school to do X, Y, and Z that doesn't help his team. And now we got to take a look at this, and it uncovers a whole rat's nest of 20 people that are involved in a whole scheme. And that to me is the issue. And I just, it really sucks that we have to deal with this, because I wish that we could watch. I wish that I could watch a college basketball game without wondering. I wish that I could, because college basketball is where it really is top of mind for me. I don't really worry about it in the NFL as much, because I think in the NFL, it's just really hard to to really do that. Like, the only way you could really do it, like Derrick Henry fumbling that much, I thought about it. I was like, dude, why is he fumbling so much? This is not, like, it just seems weird that you're fumbling so much, dude. Like, that's not you.
Well,
So I don't know.
It happens every time someone has a bad game, especially if it has magnitude on it. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Kay Nurin says money runs the whole world.
Well, yeah, clearly.
RX says point shaving, the American tradition.
Well, I just think the American tradition isn't point shaving. It's finding any way you can to make a buck. And these guys want to do it by cheating.
No, you mean if we're keeping it a buck?
Yeah. If we're keeping it a buck, you're ass at point shaving.
Yeah. This is, it feels like once a month now we're getting a major scandal.
And I agree. This plea bargain angle right here in this comment, that's true too. The more people take the plea and the more that becomes a relevant thing for the feds, that's going to keep happening. And I appreciate that. Look, there's not a lot of things I like that this administration's done at all in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, I'm not a big supporter of point shaving and like doing this stuff behind the scenes. So, if you're asking me to find a positive, that would be one positive of like, hey, they've seemingly cracked down on the whole point shaving thing quite a bit.
Yeah, I think there is no question. There is no question that we're looking at a generation of sports gambling and again, these, and I know I say this a lot and it's probably obnoxious at some point, but you want freedom, here's freedom. Right? Now, your freedom has consequences, obviously. You want the freedom to bet on sports and you want the freedom to gamble as you will. Well, how you did not project that this would become a thing. Come on. Yeah. People who come from nothing, when you hand them easy money, they're going to take it. Do you understand how many of these guys are there guys who get in deep with the sharks? Yes. But you know how many of these guys don't have gambling debt and they just want a payday? Like this Chauncey Billups rigged poker game thing. Are you kidding me? Look how many big names got drug into that thing. Look how many big names, including LeBron, LePatch. Look how many huge deals he got drug into over this. I mean, it just is wild to me that every time we see a bricked free throw, an air ball, a wild pitch, a fumble, an interception, a dropped pass. Now, I see everybody talking about A.J. Brown, drop passes. He had to be in with the gamblers. Terry Rozier. I don't know. I don't know. But now we're all thinking about it. Stepanek says in the 70s and 80s, there was a book, the NFL fixing at least 70 games could be. Yeah, Brandon, I just said, every wild pitch, you got to wonder. And it sucks.
Yeah, I think the NFL officiating angle is definitely one of the easiest way to fix a game. I mean, if the NFL, if a gambler can get to an NFL official, hey, call this or that, or make sure this team doesn't win, or make sure that the points are this or that, or like keep it over or under. I mean, that's the easiest way to get to an NFL game. I think you're going to be hard pressed to have, you're going to be hard pressed to have a quarterback intentionally have a crap game.
Yeah,
most of the time in the NFL.
And I'll tell you some of the details on this that are being floated.
What are they saying?
It's an international gambling ring. It is an international gambling ring. And there's going to be a press conference later. More than 39 college basketball players on more than 17 Division I teams, leading to more than 29 games being fixed, according to an indictment. I mean, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And I just don't know how you fix it. I don't know how you stop this from happening, because I don't think you will. I don't think you will. Because these are big time gamblers. These are big time players. There's going to be names in this.
Ooh.
And I think the whole thing is ugly. The whole thing is ugly. And I think this is really bad for our teenagers. Because those are the ones that are going to get caught up in this. Is young 13 to 18-year-olds who are impressionable and want to play fantasy football, which is a gateway drug. And yeah, I think it's going to be really tough. Really, and it's why you see everybody being able to bet on how old will yesterday, what's that, Kalashny or whatever, the flip that, whatever it is, betting what year, how old Donald Trump would be when he passes. What week of 2027 will Donald Trump be impeached? Like, we're betting on everything.
Yep.
But again, you want everybody talking about, oh, you got to outlaw gambling money. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's freedom. It's freedom. UFC going through the allegations now as well. Yes, they are.
Yeah, see, that's a sport that's easy to fix. That's a super easy. Get to this guy, he'll throw the fight.
Yeah. Officiating is always the easiest way to fix a game. 2 quick fouls on Wemby or Shea, and they sit for 5 minutes. Third foul, and he's out half the game. And not calling fouls is even more of that. I talk about this all the time. It's not even the fouls you call. It's the ones you don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ones you don't. Hey, make sure that SGA gets at least 11 free throw attempts tonight. Oh, you farted before the game? Foul. Right? Like it's that kind of, we joke, but it's that kind of thing. I think NBA officiating is crooked as hell.
Yeah.
My opinion is I think it's crooked as hell. Ty Simpson should have done another year at college, but I completely agree with the QB class. It's a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It is a no-brainer. Hey, real quick, am I the only one that cares about Live Golf? This whole Live Golf thing?
No, I think a lot of people care about it.
Do you guys believe that Live Golf can survive? I think it's a real question. And when you listen to these guys, John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, look at how little enthusiasm or excitement there is to be announcing they're staying at Live Golf.
I'm contracted through 2026, so excited about this year.
Yeah, man, I'm not planning on going anywhere. So very similar answer to what Bryson gave. I wish Brooks the best. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm focused on the league and my team this year, and hopefully we can repeat as champions again.
I mean, I really don't have any thoughts. I haven't had a lot of time to think about it, but I know I'm here to stay. I'm here to support Liv. I'm a captain of a great team and a great group of people. So I'm happy where I am. I'm proud of where I am. I think we're doing many great things, particularly in Australia, and I can't wait for this league to keep growing.
Now, that last guy is Cam Smith. Why is Cam Smith excited not to be on the PGA Tour and playing at Live Golf? They have an entire 10 days in Adelaide, Australia, where he's from. He is the superstar of that 10-day tournament. He is a national hero in Australia. And it's a party, and he and his team are celebrated that entire 10-day stretch. But do you see how little enthusiasm there is from Bryson and John Rahm? I mean, Rombo's got zero. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm here, and I made the wrong decision, even though I'm super rich, and I'll be here, and everything's great.
I don't know how Live Golf survives. And I understand that people want to get excited about it, and what is there to be excited about?
Yeah, I think it's hard when you don't have the prestige of the tour. I think that the golf golf is one of those
The
sports.
prestige of the
tour.
Thank you.
The tour has this prestige. We're going to be watching golf today, right? Golf's on the tube today, and I think that it's just a situation where I'm not interested in watching Live, mainly because I don't like the guys on Live. I don't like the decision you made. And I get it. Hey, $1 billion, $500 million to go and play golf. I get
Do you know
that.
why do you know why I don't like watching Live Golf on TV?
Why?
The graphics are obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
It is obnoxious, and the team thing doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, individual sport. Why are we playing? The team stuff is reserved for the Ryder Cup, in my opinion. Even the President's Cup, if you want to look at that. But I think that these guys who decided to go to Live and take the payday and then, ultimately have regretted it, there is no fixing it. And I think that in this life right now, we've lost sight of the concept of, hey, like you have to have some morals. You got to have some code. You got to have some honor about it. And if you're just going to throw it all out the window and say F the tour and go play overseas, no one's going to feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for the penalties Brooks has to pay to come back. I don't feel bad for you. I think that they did a great job of saying, okay, cool. Like, he's not going to take anyone's spot in the field. It's going to be supplementary. He's going to be an addition to the field. No one's losing a spot. He's also got the ability through winning and doing those things to improve the pot of money that players get paid, and so on and so forth. And he's got to pay, I think it's like $5 million to charity
donation. Yep.
Yeah, like there's, so he's got to do all these things, but that's the price you pay. By the way, hey, Brooks, $5 million is nothing to you, bro. Remember, you took all that money.
He made over $100 million.
Yeah, so I don't feel bad for Brooks. Am I glad he's back on the tour? Yes. Brooks Koepka has a hell of a story. He is, when he is right, he is one of the best players on tour and can compete with Scotty Scheffler. Is he that guy right now? No. Can he be that guy again? Absolutely. That's the beautiful thing about golf. You have a bad year? Cool. Get your ass on the range and figure it out.
And
right?
he made $165 million at Live Golf.
Yeah. So again, as we did with the SEC, I'm not having, I'm not doing the whole pity party.
No.
Oh man, Brooks is no, I'm not doing that, dude. You made your choices. You made that bed. Now it's time to lay in it. Yes, I'm glad to be seeing you back on tour. You're a hell of a player. I don't think you're a bad guy, but choices have consequences in this life, and you're not immune from that. And that's where we're at. And yes, I am as excited as I have ever been that golf is back. I think the Sony Open will miss the Plantation course, but it ultimately will be it'll just be great to have it back on TV, man. I'm here for, dude, all of the compilations of Jordan Spieth cursing and yelling at his golf ball in prior rounds have made my week, dude. It's an exciting time.
I don't understand people who get upset about hitting bad golf shots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've never really understood that.
Yeah, that's never, you wouldn't know anything about that. I mean, that's not your, that's, you don't expect to play like Tiger Woods, even though you don't practice nearly enough to be Tiger Woods,
Gets upset about golf shots. How stupid.
Yeah.
I am excited that I have found a place to play golf here. I am excited about that. I'm back into it now.
Mm-hmm.
After 4 months of rest and recovery and travel and stuff, I'm back into it now.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. You made that bed, now lay down in those spunk-filled sheets. Okay.
Biologics.
Okay. Sounds like guys who sold out their souls and countries for money, and pretty much exactly what they did. All right, let's talk the biggest stories in sports this morning, presented by our good friends at Bucked Up Creatine. You guys already hammered it. I'm back on the...
You've joined me.
No, I have not. I do not. It's so stupid to be doing pre-workout. No. but I have joined you in doing the essential amino acids with a scoop of creatine to start my day because I've been struggling to get enough water. And you guys know I'm on Zepbound. Bro's got to poop at some point. So got to get 100 ounces of water in. So if I can get 20 ounces of water there and I can get 20 ounces of water here, which I'm about to drink in the next 45 minutes, that's 40 ounces of water. We only have 60 more to go.
Minutes parade.
And I'm telling you, the thing I love about bucked up creatine is that it gives you that mental lift. If you are not taking creatine, it's a huge mistake. It plays a critical role in your mental acuities, the way your brain works, the synapses firing and
firing on all cylinders and stuff.
And if you're really tired, I'd say you didn't sleep well, or you didn't get you only got a couple hours of sleep, you'd be surprised if you just mix up 10, 12 ounces of water, pour a 5-gram scoop of creatine into it, stir it and chug it. The mental lift you'll get is pretty amazing. What are you laughing about, Jake?
Mike Smith's hashtag comment here at the bottom.
Oh, free James.
Team Semen Demon, Team Religious Persecution.
I don't understand. I listen. I think I've told it. Oak State James is that guy that never embraced who he is on this show, and God rest his soul on this show.
He didn't die, by the way. He just said he wasn't going to listen to the show.
He's not dead yet. I'm coming for that ass, James.
I love that we're having this conversation as if dude passed away or something.
But Oak State James resigned his position from the show.
Right.
Because he said we didn't respect the fact that he takes his work, or whatever, his work in the church. He says he's going to bring down pedophilia in the church.
Right.
It's like an act of Congress.
Yeah, dude, you do you. I'm happy for you if that's your calling and you want to go chase down pedo priest. Knock yourself out, my guy.
Guys play a little game called Just the Tip.
Nobody disrespects that.
Good for you, buddy.
Nobody disrespects that as Jake plays the Just the Tip drop.
Hot ass.
Okay. Nobody disrespects your desire to destroy pedophilia in the church.
Here I am.
Now, nobody respects the fact that you all of a sudden claim to be a TCU fan.
Well,
And then just as soon as you do that, he leaves. Wait, Oak State James has gone along with Tanner. We're all characters. If I were the mayor in real life, my town would burn like Telluride.
How is your Telluride, bro?
Yeah, how is your Telluride?
Yeah, how's the car, dude? How long have you had it now? Like 2 years?
Are you saying that your Telluride caught on fire? Don't say.
Yeah, you need to explain, dude.
Jeremy Bolton is the original mayor of Montytown, one of the longest standing members of the show. Jeremy's a friend of ours. We play golf with him occasionally. He's better than we are, but But listen, yeah, I hope the Telluride didn't burn down. Let's see, Husker Mini, James. Love listening to the show, even when they talk about golf.
Dude, okay, I would love to talk more golf on this here program. Love talking about it, dude.
I do. Salty drunk, yeah, but there were other synapsy issues. Boss Frog, Tanner, and now James. Damn it! When will the injustice ever stop? When will you two quit hating America? Truth.
Yeah, I
miss Boss Frog. Tanner never embraced guys. Hey, guys.
U.S. Americans.
He hated that voice. Hated it. And hating Aussies. Well, Johnny Boy, what's up, Johnny Boy? Good to see you. Telluride is fantastic. It's not on fire. It's great. Got me a nice F-150 as well.
Oh, okay. What kind of F-150 did you get, dude? I know that there's a big trend with that right now. Like,
no,
everyone.
You mean Ford workers flipping people off?
Yes, that. But like everyone's all on the new Raptor, and everyone's talking about F-150s with the 5.0 in it, and like everyone's the F-150 seemingly has made a bit of a comeback here. So I'm curious what are you rolling with there, bud?
The F-150 is one of the greatest trucks in the history of American automotive technology.
Yeah,
from the Lightning to the Raptor. The Raptor is just now, and I'm the guy. Listen, I drive a BMW X4M. I get 20 miles to the gallon. Who are we kidding? Yeah, there it is. That's Pele. It needs a detail so badly. Bro, I'm going to Vancouver this weekend. I hope they have car washes in Vancouver because it needs a detail. Like, just got a lariat trim. Nothing too fancy. Okay. For the love of the USA, will someone contact the FBI and Valhalla Patel to get them to find out what cougar dungeon that Tile King Teddy is located in, and let's set him free? I miss Teddy.
I'll see you in Valhalla.
I do miss Teddy Wayman. King Ranch edition. Oh, the King Ranch is nice. RX, F-150s, government contracts. They do love them, Johnny Boy, I just bought a 2012 Ford F-150 Platinum, 20 miles to the gallon, 130,000 miles. You can run that truck into the ground.
Yeah, trucks are a little different with mileage, bro. You can run those things for a long, long time.
I'm not even hating on trucks. I actually, having owned a Ford Ranger way back in the day.
It's such a great truck, the Ranger.
Having owned the Takuma, the Toyota Takuma sucked. I hated it.
Build quality is just not nice enough to justify the Tacoma's price, in my opinion.
It's all snapped together plastics, and now my wife gave me a gift and put a nasty lift kit on it that improved it exponentially.
I mean, it looked really nice. Like, they look nice, and yours was really nice. I'm with you. I didn't love the snap together nature on the inside. It wasn't. I understand why they do to the TRD what they do, but I don't know. I think the problem with the Tacoma now is there's so many other options in that same general vicinity of price that I would probably like. My neighbor here in Eugene got a 1500 Ram. It's really nice. A Rebel.
Wait, a Dodge or a Ram?
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Great question. It's a Ram Rebel 1500. So
not a Dodge.
Not a Dodge. No, a Ram. That looks pretty
get
nice.
It right. Damn it. It's a Ram TRX, boy.
My bad.
The biggest load that we've seen.
Don't you call my truck a Dodge, boy.
Yeah, sorry, bro. My bad.
They get you like all sensitive about that shit. Like, it's a bro,
it's not a Dodge, mommy. Come on, bro.
People getting upset. I took off. Oh, God. Here we go. I took off the muffler on my Telluride so I could ride through Zions and everyone will hear me. Is that video still in the archive?
Yes, it is.
There it is. Jake destroying the environment. And that actually wasn't in Zions, was it?
No, that was in Bryce Canyon.
Bryce Canyon. Yeah. You know. Jake, listen, just because you killed the environment, you shouldn't talk about that.
I know. I should be ashamed. I understand.
Will you say Tacoma are one of, if not most reliable trucks? The Toyota Tacoma is a good, reliable vehicle. I mean, there's no doubt. It's all about feel. Like, the thing I love about my Beam is that the BMW is luxury. I like carbon fiber. I like leather. I like luxury.
Mm-hmm. You like nice things. You're not the guy that just wants a truck to beat the hell out of it. And you don't really care about the inside. That's not you.
Right. LOL, right? Ram truck. That's
it's a Ram, not a Dodge, dude. And it's a Bighorn edition. You get that right.
And you have to say boy after it. It's a Ram truck, boy. Like, you can't just say it's a Ram. You have to throw in the. I'm 54 and I have 2 Dodge trucks. And a component kept going out in the transmission of both of them. No more Dodgers for me. Yeah, screw the Dodgers.
Yeah.
All right, got to go pretend to work. Always a pleasure. Utah Tech SEC champs, and Caruso will always suck at hiding weed. Out. See you, man. Always good to see you. Corey says, love my F-150 XLT. I've had it since 2021. Nice.
Nice, dude.
In 49er red. I like it.
Okay. Stay loyal, dude.
Stay something. All right, real quick, let's run through early prognostication because it's already Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
You can believe that. Buffalo at Denver. Broncos are 1.5. I don't see any way Buffalo goes to Denver and wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. I think the Broncos should win this game.
Yes.
But I got to tell you, I don't have a lot of confidence in them to win the game. I think it's Josh Allen is a hell of a quarterback. They are a flawed football team. No question about it. He is either going to overcome those flaws and they'll win, or he won't and they'll lose. And I think that the Denver Broncos have been this team that built this year on a soft-ass schedule by NFL standards. They played a bunch of teams that were sub-500 teams. And this is their proving time now. The Broncos are either going to prove to all the haters that they are a legitimate contender, or they are going to get bounced and by the class of the Bills, and everyone's going to be like, yeah, you guys played a soft schedule, and that's the only reason you're here. So my early prognostication is I would probably have the Bills by a field goal in this game, and I think it's a Bills on defense late in the game to get a stop to win the game type vibe.
Okay. I think the Bills are going to lose by 36 points.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. In which case, you won't have to get BDM a 3X red long sleeve shirt.
It's not 45.5 for nothing, which isn't even close to the smallest number this week. But I think you're looking at a 27-24, 24-21 kind of game, and I think the Broncos win it because it's in Denver. Yeah. Niners, Seahawks, Saturday, 5 o'clock on Fox. Hawks are -7 in this game. And again, not that I hate the Niners. I don't see any way the 49ers can come here to Seattle and win a game like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see. Now, again, I am fully open to the idea that I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't see any way the Seahawks lose this game at home. And it's going to be beautiful weather this weekend. So the weather will not be. It'll be in the middle 40s and dry for this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think it'll be a problem.
Yeah, I like the 49ers to cover in this game for sure. I think this will still be a close one. As much as the injuries are playing a role, I think that the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, they just always seem to find a way. That's kind of been their brand this year. In the face of adversity, they always seem to find a way. They always seem to be able to put together a game plan that allows them to keep the game close. So I would not at all be surprised by a like a 27-24, type win out of the Seahawks, but the 49ers to cover and make it a game. Absolutely.
I think it is. Ooh.
And I do think Fred Warner is going to play. He looks excellent right now.
He won't play this weekend. He won't be able to play till. I think he's not going to play this. He's not playing this weekend. It'll be next weekend. I think it's a 10-point Seahawks win. The 49ers are so depleted. Yeah. I think George Kittle is such a big part of their offense. Huge. Texans at Patriots. Foxborough. Joe Foxborough. -3, 40.5. You think there'll be a lot of points scored in this game? 3 Eastern, ESPN. Love the Texans in this game. I think the biggest question is, will CJ Stroud get out of the way of this defense? Because I think this Texans defense is going to make this a very close game all the way to the wire, and it's who makes more plays down the stretch. And I got to go with the Texans. That defense is so good. I'm going to take right now today. I'm taking the Texans.
Yeah, I agree with the kind of game you're talking about, a close one, but I think it's the Patriots that win this game. I think that Drake May is going to have a bit of a coming out party on the national stage here. I think that would be. I mean, if a major quarterback has a coming out party on national TV, yeah, I think this is game winning drive material. I think that you're 21-20 in this game, 21-20. 24-21, Patriots win late. and send the Texans home. I don't have anything for you. And then there's the best game of the weekend. And before we get into it, I'd like to point out we can watch this game without having to work on Monday, which is also nice.
Thank you, Dr. King. The Bears should win this game. Should win this game. They absolutely. Are you done?
Here, let me fix it.
I knew today would be shitty.
Tuesday could be a very long show.
Well, very long show or a very short show, depending on how this game goes.
Yeah, internet's out on Tuesday morning.
Yeah, you know.
The Bears should win this game. It is going to be very. I think it is a slap in the bag. That you are not favored at home. When the temperature on Sunday, a high today, it's already it's so frustrating.
Biggest kick in the balls you'll ever get.
The high on Sunday at Soldier Field is going to be 21 degrees. But it will not feel any warmer now than 1 degree. And they are saying that. And we were saying that. They are saying that there is going to be a ungodly amount of lake effect snow potentially.
And we were saying that.
There will be a frostbite warning. It could be dangerous. It could be dangerous to be outside. And they are saying that there is going to be little accumulation, but that the wind could be an issue.
And when I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
And they are saying that mostly cloudy and bitterly cold with afternoon snow. The real field temperature at kickoff will be 7 degrees and it will plummet to -2.
Bro, that's rough. That is rough, dude.
And I will just continue to tell you, Matthew Stafford in cold weather is not good. And if you look at their record and you look at the games where they play, since Sean McVay was hired in 2017, the Rams have played 4 games where the temperature was under 32 degrees.
Not 1 or 2 or 3, but 4.
They're 2-2 in those games, beating the Broncos and Jets while losing to the Bears and Packers.
We keeping a buck right now, we ass.
They average 15 points a game. Matthew Stafford, playing outdoor games against the Bears and Packers, while he was a Detroit Lion, only played 5 games where the temperature was below 32 degrees. 3 of those were in Green Bay, 1 in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Adding in his 1 game against the Jets last year where it was 23 degrees. His record is 3-3. He's thrown 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for 1,500 yards.
It's not the best situation, and we all know that.
So we'll see. I expect the Bears to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I expect the Bears to win this game. I
As you
expect
should.
it to be a very low scoring game. I would expect it to be nobody will break 24 points, in my opinion. And the Bears should win the game. They should win the game because they run the ball effectively and their offensive line is dominant.
Yeah.
So they should win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that listen, this all comes down to how the Bears come out to start this game. I'm a big believer in that in this game, especially with what happened against Green Bay. I think that the bounce back. Listen, you'll know the Bears are in a good place if they come out and their defense is playing with intensity and attention to detail. If the defense comes out and looks good and gets let's say they get a 3-and-out on the first defensive possession, or they force a punt after 2 first downs or something. They get into the game and get off to a good start. The Rams will be in trouble. If the Rams are able to put together a 7-8 minute drive, even if that results in a short field goal, that's when you'll know, okay, listen, man, like we need to lock in here because this is absolutely a game you should win. And if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm trying to hit Matthew Stafford as much as possible, even if that hurts us a little bit early in the game. I want to hit him. I want him on the ground a lot in this game because the ground's going to be frozen. And I want that to be part of the game plan because he's not. I know that dude has played through a ton of injuries in his career. At this age, he is not immune to injuries affecting him more. So if I'm the Bears defense, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I am trying to get to him.
Quick update on the gambling story that's breaking today. If you're just tuning in, a massive gambling story popping off. 20 men charged in a point-shaving scheme involving more than 39 college basketball players and 17 Division I basketball teams.
Jeez.
According to Pete Thamel at ESPN, these are the schools: Nicholls State, Tulane, Northwestern State, St. Louis, LaSalle, Fordham, DePaul, Robert Morris, Southern Mississippi, North Carolina A&T, Kennesaw State, Coppin State, New Orleans, Abilene Christian, Eastern Michigan, and Alabama State. What do you notice about those schools?
All our second tier
tiny
division schools. Yep.
Tiny schools. Not Duke, not Carolina. Small schools where players aren't making money and the lines can be manipulated through on-court play and profit can be made.
Yep.
And generally, you're not going to pull red flags by the gambling overseers if you are manipulating those games.
Yep.
That's what you notice about those games. And it is going to be tough. This is going to get ugly. This is going to get ugly. It's an international sting for gambling, and I don't see how it ends well.
Yeah, I don't either. I think you're exactly right. It's all small schools. It's all schools where there's opportunity for the kid and for the gambling ring. And I think that it's just nasty business, dude. It is. There's just no. Again, this is why, as much as I'm not a LeBron guy, I kind of applaud LeBron for never seemingly getting in trouble ever in his career. It's kind of incredible.
He even got pulled into this card.
I know he's, through different people in his network, he's connected, but I don't know. We haven't really seen, it's not like we've seen him be charged or something, but he is connected to the story. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, I have a hard time believing LeBron James spent 20 plus years, in basketball only to see that whole thing burn to the ground due to a Chauncey Billups card game with the Mafia. That would be tough.
We'll see, LeCap. We need to find a time to talk about LeBron's jersey patch thing.
Yeah, LePatch.
Did you see the Lakers are on the verge of getting Jonathan Kuminga?
I did not.
Shams.
Let me guess. They're going to trade Austin Reeves to get Jonathan Kuminga.
That's probably not going to happen. But they are. Man, that would be disappointing. Golden State's Jonathan Kuminga demanded a trade from the Warriors. He'll be moved on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lakers are pushing hard. It will require a future first-round pick. My guess is it won't be a player swap. But would you be in favor of the Lakers getting Kuminga?
I mean, yeah, if you can get him, but I'm definitely not. I'm not trading Austin Reeves at this point. Everyone's on the trade Austin Reeves bandwagon. I'm not. He's a great player. He has every right to be in the starting five of a championship team, in my opinion. And the Lakers are desperate for LeBron James to retire, because once he retires, that money's off your books. You've got an open roster spot, and you can now start to put a Reeves, Luka, team together that works. And I think it's hilarious. Everyone was like, oh, they got DeAndre Ayton in the offseason, and he's been absolutely who we thought he was. And it just terrible. And
he literally cannot catch the ball and does not try on defense.
Nope. And turns it over on offense. He's a guy that I would be like, yeah, that turnover's a little sus, dude. Are you got some activities going on?
Sus. He was in Portland.
So
he was with Chauncey in Portland.
Yeah. So I've looked at him and had some questions for sure. So
sus.
Yeah.
Sus. The Monty Show is always presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, 24/7, 365 days a year, when you need them, where you need them, and how you need them. Get to theadvocates.com to get clear, risk-free advice. Rip Hope State James. Full preview of the college football playoff final tomorrow. Until then, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.